ASC's found his target, looking to try and kill off Lich. This would be a big one if they can claim it for the fight, but no blinding light actually pushes Lich up the hill, so Beastmaster gets Aurora over on the Connell, while OD just BKBs and takes care of both the Tiny and then into the Husker. You can proper sprout up all you want. Lich will buy back. They want to have this kill faith beyond the Ghost that's protecting him from Randy's Omni Slash. But OD imprisonment, they just wait around him.
Yeah, they're going to still push this because why not, right? I mean, Supernova is ready, so maybe this is why Magnetize on every hero feels like as well. Supernova plays, they're not going to kill it. They just don't want to run away. Weehawk, can he get out of there? Doesn't look like it. The false bombs at the last second will barely keep him alive. Misery going to be the sacrificial lamb because of it. So for now, at least, Weehawk staying alive. But nope, never mind. He will took down after the fact. Tavo also gets picked up.
Means he can't afford sentries. Going after the support, he'll get the kill. Frank comes over and hits mid one. Has the Midnight Pulse down. Look at this Malefice. Echo Slam comes out, but that's hyper defensive. And now the G-Magnetic Grip comes in. You've got the Weaver coming in from the side. The Soulbind hits onto the Enigma as well.
There it is.
Her Spirit, and they'll get the kill onto Matthew. They'll take out Frank. It's the Mana Boy that hits on both of them. Nisha comes in. Burst hit bash, of course, why not? And the Avalanche onto both of them, but it's not going to save his life. Nisha gets a double kill, and they're also looking for more.
This Basher.
Find the Phoenix. The Stifling Dagger comes out. The Basher doing so much work for him right now. The Phantom silences up this Prada Phoenix, and now it's just a ton. It could be a full team wipe, but the BKB's going to
he did it again! Oh, with a bash! Come on! Dude, this thing is fresh. It is hot off the presses.
Does the engagement come? Ame breaks the high ground. Now the Ixim's going to come out as well. Resolution standing his ground. Latu's there. Chalice will go down first. Chain Force bounced around. They lock him in place. Batrider falls. Resolution does use the gaze. Ame turns around. Look at Yuar as well. Yuar says, oh, go. Protect me, Medusa. But the Chain Force still bouncing around. It's enough. Free down already. Buybacks come out. And now Ame left alone to fight against this. Aegis is expired. Tiny finally arriving. Trying to get through Yuar in time. But there's the Soul Rip heal. The Spirit Siphon still running. They move across. The crit's not there. Finally, Ame will get the kill. And now it's Phantom's Assassin's fight as SVG tries to stand his ground. The Tombstone is stacking up.
Okay. Vision here. This could be a dead Lich.
Yeah, it could be. But then again, they put them together, and here we go once again. Let the Chain Frost fly. Dazzle will buy back quickly, looking to stay involved in this engagement. Needs to try and keep Gabby alive and fighting. They empower him up. Where are these RPs? You've still got Blink Dagger RP available. I haven't seen it used. He's had the Blink Dagger for a good 3 to 4 minutes.
You can't kill these guys. The Bash brothers are way too tanky.
Well, they still decide to skewer underneath the tower. No one's happy to fight, but he's running very low on mana. Arcane Boots off cooldown in 2 seconds time, but a triple kill in from no one. He wants to get more. Gabby does not have the Shadow Dance. They burn the Ravage. It's an ultra kill for no one.
They find the other Titan, but their support here, including Y, ready to go. He's going to be sided up Chronosphere. Nope, not coming out yet. He doesn't have a cooldown. That would be a Y. In fact, Ego, he just jumps in, though. Misery goes down because of that. We is here now. Focus fire the Shackle, stopping what they can.
And he's a Halberd disarm afterwards.
Side. Oh, that disarm, yeah, doing a work, keeping him alive for now. The power shot, almost enough damage, but there's a life break in now. Weehawk, the Shrine Pop, that ain't working, buddy. Tavo's also going to fall in his face. The Ravage couldn't do it either.
Remember, as soon as the Snark gets Shadow Blade, they just converge.
We're going to try. Oh, there's Ignis coming in with the Firestorm player as well. Linking him again with the Phantom's Brace. Looks like 2 should be going down. Sven and Darksteel fall. Can they find more? Are they?
Who we found ourselves at.
Mid. Yuar is okay with this, but now the Wing Rift comes out, so silencing the OD. Yuar, one more shot. Oh!
That's pretty nice. Oh, the timing.
The timing.
Oh, the raindrop.
Still getting
he didn't go for the ulti.
AM is trying to cut through the creep waves, but backdoor has already been disabled, and Ninja Boogie just did not stand a chance. Wicked sick for ASC. They're going to buy back on the Lich, see if they can keep their Ancient alive, but right now, eHome showing no mercy at all to jump forward. Okay, this is looking kind of decent there, but ASD is just going to, again, take down that Rubik. He's going to take down Ninja Boogie and Gabby, the sole member left of TNC.
They're going through the back door.
They don't care. This is just a complete outclass of damage. They are going to be able to jump forward and find a kill onto one. Trying to kill off Y now. Gabby versus the world. Is he going to be able to do it?
It is the last day of group play here at the CQ Major. All 16 of our teams are still standing, but the best teams have started to break away from the pack. Yesterday, we got to look at a few of our groups. Mainly, we looked at Group A here, and today we're going to get to look at Group C as these teams get closer and closer to the $1 million of prizing and to those DPC points. And guys, we need to start talking about what happened yesterday for everybody that is tuning in. We saw a pretty clear-cut flavor in Group A, and at first we were kind of talking about how there were two top teams. I think we saw three teams really perform quite well.
Yeah, we saw, I think, a very close game in the end between TNC and eHome, but VP, you know, they got tested a bit, but it really was the story of VP just, you know, still being one of the best teams in the world. Even when they're not playing their A game, they're still kind of hard to beat.
Yeah, I think the real thing that we were talking about as well with VP, should we be worried at any point throughout the day, but they got better and better as the day did go on.
I mean, they even said in the interview they were really fired up in the group stage games, so, you know, you can't blame them. They've won so many majors, they're just getting warmed up with these kind of group stage games, so.
And that was kind of the other thing to talk about when we looked at Group A, right? All of a sudden you had this one team that's already done it this year. They already come out and have that incredible major performance. And then on the other end, we have a team that just got out of the minor, qualified in Bucharest to even be here to play.
And it's a great story because eHome, you know, as minor winners in the winner bracket now, getting that second slot in the group, that was something the previous minor winners, Tigers, really struggled at the last major, didn't really make a dent. Most teams, most people, fans, viewers out there, you know, don't really remember what they did because they've dropped out of the tournament. eHome is here to play Dota. These guys are going to be a top contender at this tournament.
And now we're going to actually start moving through all of the groups, just looking at everything that we did see yesterday, but also start looking ahead to what is in store for us today. Of course, we've already talked about Group A in a lot of detail, and if you were watching yesterday, you saw all of these teams go head-to-head. VP and eHome are going to be leaving Group A as the top two teams, which means they'll be going straight into the upper portion of the bracket when we get to the double elimination bracket, which is going to be starting tomorrow already. Today is the last day of group play, but as we look at Group B, you might be a little bit less familiar with some of these teams if you're only staying tuned with this stream, but definitely not unfamiliar with their names. We got some very important teams to be thinking about in this group.
Yeah, I mean, everybody expected LGD as well as Secret to actually come out on top of the group, and obviously they did. But Forward actually put up a really good fight against both LGD as well as Secret, which surprised me. Well, that didn't really surprise me.
That's Forward. I think they're a really good team.
They have like a lot of potential. If they weren't in this group, maybe they could have come out on top of another group. It's just very hard, man. Secret is LGD, like, they're just two of the top teams in the world.
Even, I think, the two games they lost to Secret, at least one of them was very close and winnable. Like, game one, they were ahead and I think they'll be a bit disappointed that they don't start in the winner bracket, but they'll also feel confident that they played as well as they did.
I think the other thing to note as well, too, when we do think about these teams that don't make it into the upper portion of the bracket, they are still going to have a chance in this tournament. They're just going to be instantly on that chopping block. So teams like
is scary, man.
It's really scary when we do actually come in tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be looking mostly at those teams that exited in the high place in their groups. Yep. But when we get to the day after that and we start seeing those best of ones, it's going to be scary. But these teams definitely do have that miracle run potential. And now we need to start actually looking at what happened as far as gameplay was concerned yesterday. We're going to be taking a deeper look at all of the picks and bans that we saw so we can start to think about maybe what we're going to see here today. So as we look at these stats, is anything jumping off the page to you, Gods?
I think the Lich is the big one. Just at the LAN portion, this includes the qualifiers as well, I assume. Yep. Lich is the most picked tournament here. Over all the games we've had, he's been picked 14 times and has like a 65% win rate. He's winning a lot. He's being picked a lot.
And we spoke about him like a lot yesterday. It's very hard to counter him. He has like a disable. He has slows. His lane is very strong. He has good teamfight potential. Just one of the best heroes in the game. And then a hero that's actually not shown here right now was also Tiny.
Tiny, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially eHome. They love their Tiny, and they always play really well with the Tiny. And it just, you know, it's just like a tanky hero, frontline hero. We see the Brewmaster as well, Centaur.
We haven't seen much any Brew or Centaur, I want to say, at least not in the games we followed. These kind of offliners were a bit forgotten. Sanking also not played so much. So
there was mostly minor play, I would say. We've seen a lot of Centaur and Tiny there. Not as much Brewmaster, and especially not Sanking, but
I feel like you guys were calling for Centaur so many times throughout the day, and we didn't necessarily see it. But I want to actually ask a little bit about Grimstroke, because I feel like we have a lot of conversation going on the panel, in particular after you guys already went home for the day. It was when Nahaz and Kyle were here with me. We were talking about Grimstroke and what we actually thought about this hero's place in the current meta. But do you have any opinions on Grimstroke?
He seems pretty good, but maybe a bit overrated. I think. Perhaps he's been in a better place because I don't think teams are just first picking him every game like they used to. So I think teams kind of understand he's not as good as they initially thought.
Yeah. The scary part about Grimstroke is most of his good partners are actually very squishy intelligence heroes as well. And you have like 2 supports that have like 600-700 health each, and
the Lenas, Lions, Shamans, even Lich. It's like you don't want to be picking this super squishy lineup.
Yeah, both supports can just get blown up in like a second, and if that happens, then obviously you're just left with like 3 heroes versus 5 heroes, and can get a bit iffy there. But of course, if you get those perfect combos off, then the team fights become incredibly easy, and he's very potent for that.
All right, well, now we have that little refresher on everything that did happen yesterday. Let's start to actually look ahead to today and start to talk about the teams that we are going to be seeing, because this is one of the most interesting groups. Even when we were looking at all of the groups yesterday, there were so many questions to be answered. I mean, all of a sudden, we have a group with Liquid and Pango who are both going to be, first of all, it's going to be our first matchup. Second of all, we got stand-ins on both of these teams. And this morning, everybody was kind of talking about, okay, how valuable is the member that isn't here for each of these teams? Do you have a particular opinion on that for both of these lineups?
I mean, Liquid are TI champions with this roster, but Miracle, anybody asked to say, if you ask who's the best player in the world, everyone will put Miracle in their top 5. A lot of people have him as like the #1 best player in the world. He's just that freaking good. With that said, Liquid is a team of TI champions. You've got great players around him, whereas I think Nopengo missing a key player in Zayat, the 4 position, is maybe a bigger hit in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think Liquid, like, no offense to Shadow or anyone, I think they could probably just get a random, like 6-7k MMR player, and they would still be able to beat most of the teams here, just because the 4 of them are so cohesive. Their team play is amazing. They're just like a super good team. So once you obviously get to the top 8, then it's going to be a bit more difficult. You can't really just win the game with like 4 people, That's where Miracle usually comes in. He wins these really hard to win games. If a game is ever even, he will break ahead and he will just like make it work for his team. So not having him there is definitely a very big problem. But they're still going to go far, I think.
Yeah, and I think the issue for Pango missing Zayat is he's the guy that normally runs the early game. He's the playmaker. He's playing the 4 position, whereas Liquid, your kind of carry players missing. And yeah, Miracle's sensational player, but your game plan from the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the game is still going to look the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so ultimately, you got a squad that, they are missing an absolute all-star on their team, but all of the other pieces are just so cohesive. You still have faith in them. But Pango right now, a little bit worried that they don't have that early game playmaker, basically. So we're going to have to be looking at that in the first matchup and also throughout groups as a whole, because these are not the only threats that are going to be existing in Group C. We got to talk about the other 2 teams as well. Let's start with J-Storm. Obviously, they've switched up their roster. This isn't a stand-in situation, but we actually have to see how they will perform.
Yeah, it's an interesting group. It's kind of like a group of friends who have done really well together. I think that's partly why Fear was brought in, because he is friends with March, friends with the coach Demon, and they obviously respect what Fear's accomplished. He won a TI himself with Evil Geniuses. He's a veteran of the scene. He's going to bring like a very stable performance. But Milan was a guy, their former player, who was a kind of, I think, promising superstar almost. So it's a bit surprising to see them kind of replace him with Fear, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Fear as a 4 yet. So,
well, not for a few years, maybe, at least.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he played it.
Yeah, like 3 years ago at some point,
Yeah, but then he wanted to switch to position 5. He obviously was most known for his carry. Then he played middle for a bit. I just really haven't seen his 4 in a very long time. So I'm very curious to see how good it actually is, or how the team is going to perform with it, because,
It's so exciting when we talk about this group, because we basically have a scenario where we're excited to see all the stand-ins play. Then we're excited to see how Fear is going to fit in with this lineup, but we haven't talked about VG at all. So I want to make sure that we actually talk about what VG is bringing to the table. How do you think that they will perform in this group of teams that have all switched something up in some capacity?
I mean, VG, I would probably rate #2 in China right now after LGD. They're just so stable. They have a very strong lineup. RTK, their coach, is very, very good. It's just a very stable team. I don't think they're going to lose this group. I'm actually pretty confident they're going to get first place.
Yeah, they're just, it's one of those things where we're not talking about them. They just silently fly under the radar, and then they just suddenly are in the top 6 or top 8 of the tournament. Yeah. They're going to get top 2 in their group. They'll probably get top 6 or top 8 of the tournament. And people just, forget that VG Gaming, Paparazzi, he's also one of those superstars, one of the best players in the world. And these guys, you cannot underrate them ever. But for whatever reason, they just, they go kind of unnoticed.
So it seems like you kind of think they don't even need to be, but can they take advantage of the fact that some of these rosters are not as solidified yet?
For sure. I think they'll have a pretty easy time, against teams like Pango. I think Liquid, it's hard to know how good they'll be. Liquid's so good in the early game, particularly with their supporting cast, and Mind Control, who's just the best offlaner out there, that maybe they struggle with Liquid.
Yeah, VG, it's hard to tell. I just think it should be somewhat smooth sailing for them. I think they're really, really good. And I mean, it's hard to say they're not going to do well, because all the other teams obviously made changes recently, and VG has been together for quite a while. They've been playing pretty well in every tournament they got. They haven't performed at a super top level. Then they didn't get a top 3 or whatever, but they're always in the top 6, top 4, something like that. And
if they do bad at this tournament, they're going to enter that territory where they're considering roster changes and stuff. Because this is firstly a group that they should do well in, and just a tournament as a whole. The expectations on this team from their fans, from I think just the community as a whole, is that this is meant to be a team that is top 6 in the world. And if they're not in that top 6, if they finish bottom 4, bottom 8, people will be asking what needs to change.
A little bit of pressure on them, but they're definitely in a group where they should be able to make something happen. But we still haven't even looked at one of the groups. So let's jump in right now. Look at Group D. This is going to be the final 4 teams in the tournament, and they're also going to be playing today, final day of group play. We're obviously going to be focusing on Group C here on this stream, but you will still be able to watch the matches for Group D. We got plenty of streams going on all throughout the weekend until we do jump into that main event. But let's talk about it. EG sitting at the top here. Who's your favorite, though, for all of Group D? Let's start there. Black, who's your favorite for the entire group?
I think probably, my top 2 are EG and Fnatic, and I think I would put EG a little bit ahead of Fnatic. EG just came from a boot camp. They're prepared really hard for this tournament, so I think they're going to definitely perform well here. And then Fnatic, they've been shaky in the last major. They still made it to top 8, though. So
they weren't happy with how they went out, though. I remember seeing the team afterwards and just being around the guys, they were very disappointed with how they played. They kind of squeaked into the top 8 with some a little bit lucky or just close games. They lost some games they should have won. Even some of their wins, they almost let slip away from them. So Fnatic didn't play good Dota at the last major, but they just have so much talent. And the way the bracket worked for them still got them into the top 8.
How big of a factor is this boot camp going to be? Because we were actually talking about it on the way over. Throughout the entire, it's it takes us about an hour to get to the venue, and everybody's just talking about what they expect to see throughout the day. I know Kyle was talking quite a bit about this boot camp as well that EG just went through. Do you think it's going to be a huge factor?
Yeah, but everyone boot camps. Kyle's selling EG because they had a 10-day boot camp. This is a major. This gets you a TI. Every team here practiced for a major. I don't know why he's thinking EG is suddenly going to be better than everyone because they practice. They're better than everyone because they're EG. They're not better than everyone because they practice harder. If you're not practicing for the major, you're doing something wrong.
You were the only person
Kyle's
that was
freaking idiot, man. I don't know what he's on about.
Maybe he meant that they usually don't practice.
You don't think EG practices for majors that get a TI?
I mean that's
they need a new org or someone to whip them into shape if that's the case. These guys, of course, they're freaking practicing.
Yeah, well, they should be, but if Kyle says that, it really sounds like they're not, Yeah, so Kyle's a bad boy.
They got top 4. They got 3rd place, right, at the last major, EG?
Well, 3rd or 4th? I think 3rd. Yeah.
There's 4th with NIP. They got 3rd at the last major. Guess what? They practiced for that major. Practice. They got 3rd place. They're here. They practice. They'll probably get top 4 again, maybe top 6. EG, of course, they're going to play good Dota.
So are you telling me I shouldn't trust Kyle?
I mean, he's right. EG are going to be good. They're the best team in this group, but it's not because they. I mean, it is because they practice, but it's.
All right, that's going to be our deep dive on Group D. Now we're just about ready to jump into the next matchup, but before we do, we want to talk just a little bit about what is in store. We've already touched upon both of these teams. We're heading back to Group C. We're going to look at Liquid and Pango, and actually start to look at some of the numbers with these two squads, start to look at some of the faces that make up these teams. Let's start with Team Liquid. Obviously, we have talked quite a bit about this lineup. We've talked about the changes that they are going to be playing with, but what can we expect from this team?
I think they're going to be playing pretty fast-paced, focus on the 4 players, the stable, the 4 core players of the roster other than Shadow, being very active early on, creating space for Shadow. Just put him on some hard carry, some farmer, and then look to play around, I'd say, mostly Mind Control. He's kind of like the superstar of this team now with Miracle gone. He is so good at just dominating his lane and having impact on games. I think he's the guy to look to kind of carry Liquid in the early game.
Yeah, he's gonna be probably picking up like his signature Prophet or maybe Beastmaster. He's gonna get to say really early Vlads. There's gonna be looking to organize pushes around him, team fights around him. And as you said, they're probably more than likely gonna leave Shadow like to his own, you know.
Just do your thing.
Yeah.
If they need him for a fight, Kuro's probably gonna be like, Shadow, come top, you know. Like, it'll probably be Kuro just telling him when to join them.
And as we said before, it's probably gonna work against the like tier 1.5 teams, tier 2 teams, but against like the LGDs, the secrets, it's gonna be very hard to play like that because 4+1 is not really like a thing anymore.
Well, in this matchup, you say Mind Control's going to be that playmaker on the side of Liquid. How about Pango? Who should we look to actually be the playmaker on this lineup?
They lost their playmaker. They're hoping Naive just carries the shit out of them because this guy is amazing. He's one of the best, I think, new carry players in the CIS region.
I can relate to that. That's how I feel on the desk. Just every time, everybody sits down like, "Come on, guys, let's go Black. What you got for me, man?"
You're like King R here, just coming in as a stand-in. And you're like, "All right, who's going to carry me?"
Yep. Every time.
But I think they're actually quite similar, whereas like the 4 players make a lot of space for the carry player usually. So. But as we said, they lost their biggest playmaker, whereas Liquid still retained their biggest playmaker. So I give like a little bit of an edge to Team Liquid in the early game control.
I think Gossip is another player that stands out as being amazing on Pango, but I don't think he's like this early game playmaker like Mind Control. He's more a guy that comes online with mid game, plays like the team fight heroes, and then has his impact. So I kind of worry about the start of the game for Pango.
So the start of the game is going to be the scariest part for them. Do you think if they make it through that start of the game, if they get through that tough part, does all of a sudden the game really open up for them?
It should. Like, you know, they've got the carry player who's going to be in sync with their team. I think the carry role is very important on this patch. He's the guy you kind of look to, you know, get you through the mid to late game. And then with a stand-in for the carry for Liquid, that could make it tough for them.
All right, well, we're just about ready to hop into the draft here. You're going to see some of these stats on your screen right now. Maybe a little bit of foreshadowing to what we're going to see when these two teams go head-to-head here in our first game of the day, our first series of the day, and our final day of group play. I'm really loving this format. This format's not like anything I've ever gotten to be a part of before, but it's fast. Like, it just feels so fast, and I can't stop thinking about how the players must feel. It seems like it would be something that's somewhat unforgiving and also quite a grind. The amount of days that we're seeing these teams play in a single day is it's quite taxing.
Yeah, there's a ton of games going on too. It's just like, you know, you have one day for your whole group, play well, or you're in the low bracket. And if you're in the low bracket, you know, BO1s, that's not fun for anyone.
Yeah.
But with that said, teams had a lot of time to practice and prepare, knowing who was going to be in their group.
Yeah, it really dawned on me yesterday, though, when we were kind of sitting down on the desk and everybody's making their predictions. And, you know, it's like we were joking around. It's like 9 predictions for VP to win. I was like, VP just played 9 games. If we predicted them to win that many times, right? They ultimately don't have to play all of those games out. But the joke very much did ring true. But now we're going to be jumping into that draft, Team Liquid and Pango. What are we seeing here so far, Black?
Well, we see that the Earth Spirit got through, which is a bit surprising.
It's one of the first Earth Spirit picks we've seen.
Yeah, one of the strongest position 4 heroes. But of course, King R, I don't know how good he is on the hero. I haven't actually seen him play for quite a while.
Zayas was great on it.
Zayas was great on it, yeah.
Whose opening do you like more?
I mean, it's the Magnus PA again. Like, Magnus first 2 I don't really like too much, but
I agree. I think we're both. So you like Pango's opening better. But I definitely like Pango's opening way better.
The opening is better, but I just also feel like Dusa is kind of like a weak response, you know? Because you want to take advantage of the weak lanes, but Dusa kind of just looking to farm as well.
Yeah, but the weak lane is not normally the mid lane. So I think sending a Dusa mid and then having strong side lane still works. You can take advantage of the... You're not picking Medusa to take advantage of Magnus. You're picking Medusa because it's a great hero against Mag PA in mid game, and it's just Dusa.
Yeah, it's just a Dusa. This patch is very stable.
I feel like yesterday we started to ask questions about Medusa and how strong it was going to be in these early picks, and we have just seen it throughout so many different series. How do you guys feel about Medusa in the current meta?
Nothing's said yet that you can't first 2-pick Medusa. I think we've seen evidence that you shouldn't first 2-pick Magnus, so.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean,
with TNC were doing it, over-relying on it. Medusa for VP, and I think some other teams looked fine as an opening too. Obviously, you have to play around it a lot. But even games where Medusa was first 2 and the other team would counterpick with Anti-Mage, the heroes still look fine. So
yeah, the main thing with TNC, right? They ultimately first pick 3 times in a row in an entire series, first pick Magnus. And the main question we were asking why they were even doing that, was it because they wanted to make their stand-in player feel a little bit more comfortable? But I think we did find an answer with that hero that maybe that does not work.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe something similar here because PA, in all honesty, is like one of the easier carry heroes to play. Like you throw your dagger, you jump on a hero, you kind of want to blow him up. You get empower for your carry hero as well.
Yeah, but it's less of that like hard carry that plays, you know,
you
by,
have to
by
fight
yourself.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like not a hard fighter. Like you don't have to really like be on the same page with your team. You kind of just go in on your own, and you kind of make space by yourself as well. Okay. Yeah. I think it's a very good pick for them. I mean, we are saying that he can't speak English, but maybe he can speak really good English. I don't know. I haven't been there.
I'm not saying that. I've never. I didn't talk to. I saw him at dinner last night. And he was.
Did you speak to him?
Yeah, they said some words to him. They pointed him towards where I can't remember. There's some food he was looking for.
Chicken.
Yeah, chicken. Yeah. They're like, there's the chicken, Shadow.
Yeah.
And you know, he smiled and nodded and said, "Okay."
It's about all the English.
Yeah.
I need.
he knew the word chicken. You know.
Yeah.
He knows the word chicken. I'm sure he knows some Dota terminology. So they're going to do fine.
I mean, they say Dota is a common language, which I don't disagree with, but at the same time, at the top level of Dota, it's a bit more difficult than that.
Yeah. The chat will exist for a reason, you know?
That's how Secret communicate with CTY.
You can ping
They're
things,
like, go here.
500 gold to BKB, you know, you're good.
No problem.
Use the in-game communication.
Dota is really advanced. Like, you can just press, like, Alt, and you left-click an item, and it says, I need 400 gold for this item. Like
or this item, this spell is on cooldown. And it translates it into whichever client you're running Dota on, so.
I knew that.
Okay.
I don't know what they're looking for in the draft, though, so let's take a peek at that. What is Team Liquid going to be looking for here?
Are you surprised about the Oracle? It's really good against the Dusa, obviously. Can disarm the Dusa.
We love you, Rich.
We love you, yeah. Don't worry about it.
So, you know, Dota, you run it through Steam, you know.
Is this one of those computer games?
So you got a bit confused. You tried to play some Dota for this tournament. You actually found yourself playing auto chess, I heard.
Yeah, it was total confusion. It wasn't on purpose that I just clocked hundreds of hours on auto chess.
And then you get here, you're like, wait, this isn't an auto chess tournament?
Am I at the wrong tournament? But if you go into the caster room, you realize you're actually at the right tournament. Because they're playing auto chess right now. They probably don't even know what's been logged in yet.
They're tapped out of the draft playing auto chess.
So Toby and Kyle were waiting for the bus early. They were like, yeah. I was like, why are you here so early?
No, they left the bus. They were like, the faster we walk, the faster we can play auto chess.
Yeah, I was like, man, these guys are really excited to get their makeup on this morning. All right, well, let's go back to the draft. Did we miss anything crucial here?
Nothing crazy. Darkseer Underlord.
Same thing, pretty much.
I mean, Darkseer puts Mag into a support role, which is something, you know.
So it's a Mag Darkseer lane, most likely.
A lot of teams do tri lanes, but Magnus isn't really a tri lane hero, so.
He is not.
Yeah.
And Undying eats tri lanes alive, so.
Yep.
Yeah. I think right now the lanes are really strong for Pango.
Pango's, I like their opening better, and I like these 4 heroes way better.
I like the Oracle is just picked for the Dusa. You can disarm her. You can, I mean, like it doesn't strike me as super good in this game.
It's one of those things where Oracle can be good when the opponent's trying to burst down one here, but look at Pango. They're playing to have a long team fight. Underlord, Undying, Earth Spirit, Magnetized, Dusa. Like, this is like a let's have a really long, drawn-out fight. That's where Oracle with the False Promise isn't going to be amazing.
And all 4 heroes are incredibly tanky. Obviously, Underlord just builds all these aura items. Undying, naturally tanky through Strength Steal. And this Earth Spirit just gets 4 strength every level. The lineup is actually...
It looks way better to me.
Liquid might lack some damage already in the early game portion.
Well, also you talk about Pango going for this long team fight sort of build here in the draft. Before we even got to the draft, the main concern that you did have for Pango was that the opening portions of the game. Does this mitigate that at all, or is the beginning of the game still going to be very scary for them?
They have good support, so it looks solid. Like Undying, Earth Spirit.
It will depend on the rotations of the Earth Spirit.
Like, but they're against a Magnus, so like, are you really going to lose the early game against a Magnus? So
probably not,
Magnus?
But this Earth Spirit can make or break the early game, of course, as he has in many games already. So we'll be looking forward to King R's performance here as a stand-in.
Their lineup looks like they may be the ones playing faster pace. You know, like 5-man Dusa lineup. You got the Underlord for all the aura items. Undying. You could just look to barrel through towers very quickly here. Visage getting banned for that very reason.
If they pick up like a Juggernaut, it could be really good for them with a healing ward. Or they would not die to anything if they have a healing ward. Jug lanes really well against Darkseer, obviously.
And PA Magnus do not kill healing ward at all. Like they're going to struggle to deal with that.
I think Jug would be an excellent carry here if they wanted to do that.
Big question for Liquid is what are they going to pick mid, and who's even playing mid for them? Because that
it has to be Matu, right? Shadow is not a mid player in my experience, from what I've seen in pub games and stuff at least.
Sure.
But maybe he'll surprise me. Maybe he'll bust out that Invoker and be like, Miracle can do it, I can do it, let's go. Invoker is really good. by the way, in this game. Against these
Is
heroes.
Invoker a good hero, though? I feel like I've seen games where I'm like, this is the perfect Invoker game. Surely they'll pick it, and then it's like, no.
OG picked it, and they crushed their opponent. It was the only Invoker pick at the minor.
Okay.
Like, if you get a last pick Invoker, it can work.
These I like.
Venge.
That's
carry
like,
Venge.
That's like the replacement to the Visage, where it's just like fast-paced carry.
CIS special.
Let's be able to, gives you Roche killing potential, gives you tower push, gives you this just way to just play super fast and aggressive.
Yeah.
Now looking at everything that Pango does have, obviously last pick coming in here, but did Pango mitigate that weakness that they did have against Team Liquid? Did they mitigate the scariness of the early game?
Yeah, their draft looks way better early game. I guess it's, if anything, it's the opposite story where Liquid's playing more for the late game. Well, not late game, but they're playing for this timing where they're going to have like an Iron Shell on the PA. PA BKB is like kind of where they look scary.
Looking at his lineup, it's like the monkey. It doesn't strike me as particularly strong against Avenge either. You can just get swapped out of your ult, and then I don't know. I think the lineup of Pango is really good. It's just, can you say Liquid is going to lose this game? I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely came in thinking Liquid's the favorite in this series, but based on Game 1 drafts, I much prefer Pango's draft.
Yeah,
all right. So now, with preferring the draft, are you going to predict Pango to win the series?
The whole series?
Well, yeah.
Or just Game 1?
Let's do the
I'll
whole
give him
series.
Game 1, but I think Liquid will take the series.
Okay, so Game 1 to Pango, and then Team Liquid going to be able to take 2 of them. How do you feel about that, Black?
I think for Game 1 at least, Pango is going to win that. Most likely, maybe not, but they definitely have the lineup advantage. But Liquid is going to win overall.
Well, that's the real thing to look at here, though. Just how strong this draft really is for Pango, because all of a sudden we're seeing our analysts move away from Liquid, who they did favor coming into this. So the draft definitely going to speak volumes for Pango. And now we're going to go over to our casters, and we're going to have to see, do they think that this draft is as strong as our analysts do?
That's an interesting question, Richard. Hello, everybody. We're on camera. Hi, Kyle.
How you doing?
Hi. I'm doing great. I'm very happy to see Pango with an aggressive style lineup is what I was hoping from them going up against Liquid. But then again, at the same time, we kind of got what we were expecting from Liquid as well, right?
A little bit. I was surprised nobody mentioned OD, and then it wasn't picked in this game. I thought it would have been a pretty nice finisher, but I don't expect it's like a Matumba main hero.
Yep.
The Monkey King is this traditional Chinese counter to a Medusa, and you already have a Magnus as well, so that's kind of nice. I think the panel's right, and the Pango has a bit of an edge, but I think that they're selling Liquid a little short, because this is a draft right here.
Yeah, how many times do you ever go up against like a Magnus PA lineup? And this is the upside of this is what the panel was kind of touching on, is the empower bonus you're going to get with the Monkey King. Everyone gets Iron Shells.
Yep.
And with the Kuro Classic of Oracle, you can be really over-aggressive. Like, Kuro's going to be there to save your ass. But I'm interested how the laning phase goes, because how does that work? You've got Undying, you've got ES, 2 of the greatest heroes from the current meta to just be these aggressive roamers, this presence across the map. How is Liquid meant to temper this aggression of Pango?
I think you can play the map pretty easily. Liquid, if you think, remember there was like this big post on a Chinese forum about them after TI7, about how they were, they just hid in the trees, and that's why they won. And there's a margin of truth to that, but it's more just about how well Liquid can play away from you. They're the best team in the world at mirroring their opponents, and when you have as much wave clear as they do, in addition to the ability to scale, I'm not that concerned with Pango trying to go high ground like 20 minutes in. I don't think their waves are ever going to be that good for them.
Well, the battle for the runes already comes out as GH is actually able to steal the runes. We've got a small little split battle, but GH skewering King up the hill. But it will look like everyone will just have to back off. GH took a lot of damage to achieve what he did, but Liquid claimed 3 of the 4 bounty runes at the beginning.
Yeah, we're going to see. I expected a tri-lane aggressive from Pango, but they're going to do the traditional dual lane setup.
Yeah, they just TP'd the Undying to the top lane, but is this really the lane you want to have? Like double Iron Shells from Mind Control is going to push this anyway.
That's my feeling as well, where Undying is also completely ineffective at hunting a Darkseer that's going to start backlaning as soon as possible. And I just don't feel like his presence is going to be felt here, whereas bottom, you're going up against an enemy tri-lane. You want to shut down the Shadow PA. He's the win condition for the side. Like you already see, Mind Control, even though we were paused, we can check him out. He's already beelining for the back lane. Like, that's where he's going to live. He makes his living up in the enemy jungle, pulling creep waves. He can even go behind Tier 2, Tier 3. And the one downside of this Pango draft is you really don't kill this guy. Unless you bring the Earth Spirit, and he has to stay bottom.
You got no way to also stop him from retreating. So what, like Medusa's going to throw a snake, Undying throws Decay, but you don't have someone like a Rubik with telekinesis grab. You don't have the way to stop them from just surging away to safety. And that's where Mind Control is going to feel very confident up on the top lane, just do whatever the hell he wants. And they're already TPing down extra. So GH is on bottom lane. He's going to try and work with Kura to try and kill off the Earth Spirit. So it's already King R in a bit of trouble. You've got Skewer available, but it's just too easy to block him. Skewer forward, and Kuro, well, they'll have the range damage and the close damage through the Fairy Fight as he salve around the tree line. While he's got a small little bit of time, 17 HP. The last attack from Kuro will do the job. And First Blood just caught in the trees, which is ironic for your statement before.
I told you in the draft, when you have an Oracle support, that 4 Magnus all of a sudden has a lot more potential in the early game. You can roam together and hit these. Like, it's so easy. You charge up a Q, you skewer back. Nothing anyone can really do if you get pushed 800 units back towards your enemy core. And I expect to see them continue to dominate this bottom lane. Like, I just feel
it's like the opposite of what should be happening, right? Like, we're looking at 2 teams who have 2 stand-ins.
Yeah.
How do you pressure this opening? Like right now, you've got Shadow, who's just sitting on bottom lane as PA, having the freest time to farm. Like Underlord, yeah, he's a bit more of a pain in the butt, but it's still a 6-0 PA farm so far.
And the
you're not stressing the weakness.
I just want to see Underlord with as good a start as possible in a game like this, because if you're able to lane, like, look at the damage disparity. PA sitting on 49. This is level 1 atrophy for, mind you, and Underlord's approaching 100. Like, you have double damage on this guy if you're in a position where you can just go mano-y-mano on him in the lane. But when you're in a 3-on-1 scenario or 2-on-1 scenario, it's just not that simple. Up top, you see Kuro has rotated.
Yeah, he's trying to stay in the lane because he'll need some levels as well. Because Mind Control he hasn't really found the opening just to creep skip it out.
Just, I feel like if I were to play against Liquid with the Shadow as the stand-in, I would just put more emphasis on slowing down his game.
Yep.
I feel like if you're Liquid, you want to make his game as like first 2 mag PA, you know, is about as simple a game as you can ask for from a carry player. And if he has a nice lane down here, this is something he's probably done 100 times on this patch.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to have a bit of a crack over at Slayer, who's trying to walk back out. You've got support rotating over from Medusa. Just a quick little snake out. Mind Control, low on life. But remember, he can just surge himself away unless Slayer can block him. But it's not even for that. They just turn around. Mind Control with the Iron Shell damage gets the kill.
Yep.
And Kuro helped him out with the Fortune's End.
And that's part of the reason Darkseer is so effective against Undying. Because, yeah, sure, if Medusa's there, it's going to be possibly a kill, but he doesn't feel confident because there's a lane pushing into his tower at all times. You need to keep a core in this lane, and then Darkseer Oracle, they're free to do whatever they want in the enemy jungle. Bottle picked up on Mind Control as well. You don't see this very often from Darkseer players. It's more of like a feel. You need some sort of regen, so rather than go back to base, he just hits the side chop, and now he can go back to back laning.
Yeah, very interesting that she picked that up. And normally it's just like you get the Soul Ring. It's the cheaper stuff because you normally build it also, especially in this current meta, into mech.
Well, that's what makes Dota so beautiful, and what makes Mind Control such a great player is that every game is different. It's about the feel and what's happening in this specific instance.
GH, I thought for a moment he's just looking to try and drag Ghostic back in. He had the perfect. He was inside a Fog of War. Could have pulled him underneath the tower so Shadow could just go ham.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like a slightly. You lower your, ideally, you know, you want that Faith Beyond game, right? You have Arcane's Vanguard in 6 or 7 minutes, but that's just not realistic. And you got to kind of take what you can get, make the best of it.
I like how you're just labeling it as a Faith Beyond game now. It's just like, you know what, he dominated yesterday, but even then, they still only got through in second position.
Hey, he set a record, you know? You gotta.
He did.
It happens.
They just leave Kuros by himself up on top lane. Like, for the aggressive draft that came out from Pango, it really feels like they're not making the most of it. ES has been almost a non-factor ever since giving away First Blood. King R has been waiting for an opportunity, but hasn't been able to really make one.
So the mid lane is where I'd say he needs to try and get the most work done. It's a shame, again, you know, Zayak not here, Pango forced to use King R as a stand-in. I feel like he's their strongest player, and the one that usually gets abused is Sailor in the mid. His hero pool's a bit limited. He loves this Venge, but if you're trying to kill a Monkey King with an Earth Spirit gank, how do you ever stun a guy that can just easily dodge your projectile by turning into a tree? This is a very difficult hero, and you're being outlaned pretty significantly, 32 CS to 20.
Well, let's see how this battle gets to go. It's the 5-minute rune, skewer away. GH will take it. He may lose his life for it, however. PA not getting involved as GH tries to walk it off. The Orb of Venom slows him down a bit, but munching on the Tango, life is good. And GH will get away.
Yep. Mind Control gets the bottle off on the bounty rune. Shout out to Kuro, just making sure that he had that secured. He actually got both, which means he's now full HP, full mana almost, and right back to back lane.
Look where Kuro rotates in towards middle lane, looking for the gank over on the Vengeful Spirit. Just a quick slap down from Matumba, and Kuro had the fortune tend to follow up and get the kill.
And this all really just starts because there wasn't an Undying in the bottom lane. And as soon as PA, you get to a point, 2 Wraith Bands, Magic Wand, you're totally fine now at level 5. You don't need any assistance whatsoever. If you don't pressure this hero right away, he becomes a problem and he can self-sustain. Now your supports are free to rotate, do whatever they want. GH been stacking, been pulling, being a minor annoyance. And, you know, the Empower bot.
Yeah. It's just the amplification of all the farm. The stuff that hasn't had to come into Matumberman just yet. Kuro again trying to have a bit of a poke around mid, but these supports, the levels of the supports are just non-existent. That's a level 2 ES and a level 2 Undying 6 minutes into this game. These are heroes who normally just skyrocket with levels because of successful ganks, kills on cores, but it just doesn't exist at the moment. So Naive trying to back out through the top, to be held in place by the Fortune's End. Undying Tombstone, Liquid quickly move over to try and deal with it, but now King R can be involved in Mind Control, surges himself away, doesn't want to be in that fight, and that allows Kuro the space to kill off the Tombstone.
And the Mind Control is just playing this lane flawlessly. From item choice to the way he's moving around, constantly applying pressure. They force the TP, immediately get out of dodge. Crow even gets the Tombstone last hit. That's a nice gold infusion. He'll be buying wards. You can already see him in his quick buy. And this is the one downside of the Medusa safe lane where you just you can't stop Darkseer. So you're just trading in a matchup you're so favored in.
Great rotation down. Matumberman getting involved in the kills in the side lane. 4 hits. No way the Ghostic is able to escape from the bottom lane. So much double slows. You get it from the skewer. You get it from almost the never-ending stifling daggers that are at level 3 now on the PA. And GH has already managed to afford Arcane Boot 7 minutes in.
That was a vintage mid-1 rotation right there. Nighttime hits. Think about moving. You have your sacks up. Oh, he gets swapped in mid, though.
Yep. Looking to try and dodge with the Mischief, the Magic Missile, unable to do so. That's why King R rolling boulders through, gets kicked back, but support from Liquid comes so quickly, and Matumberman still empowered up.
Yep.
Just wrecks face on the ES, and it's not finished there. He's going for Sealer underneath the tier 2, but okay, maybe biting off a little bit more than he can chew. Will begin his retreat.
That Liquid's never going to fall for that. I mean, you know Kuro's ready. He's playing Oracle. He picked this hero for a reason. It's the best counter ganker for these early Earth Spirit rotations. That's just never going to work. It has to be so much faster than that. You're not even doing damage to a Monkey King by the time the Oracle's completed his TP. It's gonna backfire.
This feels a lot like. I was really worried about how Shadow would work. There were a lot of questions about if he's actually going to be a peak performance to play at Team Liquid's level. But he's moving with the majority of the team. He comes over with GH, but Tumman's going to get this kill up on top because, hey, it's a hasted Monkey King versus the Deuce, so she ain't going anywhere.
What are you talking about? He's been farming. He's just AFK.
Yep.
Look, it's 5K advantage. This is what I'm talking about. It's 4 players of Liquid winning the game, and it's like, yo, Shadow, you do you, dog.
Hey,
we'll empower you.
He's moving with GH. That's why I'm giving him props. My Control's going to die on top lane. That finally gets the Pango on the board.
Now, this is what I don't think. This is just not how I would game plan for Liquid with the stand-in, okay? This is what they want, a 4+1, where the +1 is effectively just chilling. And you can't let a guy that's 1 TI just chill in the jungle with Empower. Like, this is great, though, and this is why I love the Mag 4, where GH, he's got Arcanes. Every once in a while, Shadow runs over for an Empower. GH farms the lane, and Shadow just clears the entire jungle. That's great. Super efficient.
Kuro's vision that he put down with the Observer Wards is also watching Wings now, and it's them getting the stacks up. Sorry, watching Wings, watching Pango. I got that in my head now. Watching Pango putting down stacks, and with the Empower buffer, it's not going to take much for Shadow just to bounce over and just rip them apart.
And you can see, like, this is the downside of Earth Spirit. I think it's one of the best heroes in the patch. But if you can't find kills, what do? He's been sitting behind mid in the trees for about 2 minutes now, and he's confused. Like, what do you do? Where do you go make plays?
I was also just like watching that for half a second. Shadow's the cheapest way to farm, where you just trigger your blow while all the creeps are asleep. None of them attack you. He just took an entire ancient stack without taking any level of damage.
I like the build too. This is one of those scenarios. You don't have an offlaner that can go Vlads. I've been talking with a lot of players back at the hotel, and they were laughing about how there isn't an offlaner anymore. There's just a Vlad's buyer. This is one of the very rare games where Darkseer can now go more of the mech rush, Greaves most likely, maybe a Crimson or Pipe, and the PA, because you have Empower, you don't need Cleave, and the Vlad's now gives you the ability to farm without taking any damage.
GH is playing beautifully on the bottom. He shockwaves the creep wave, hides in the tree line as Ghostic looked for him, and probably thought the GH just TP'd away to safety. It doesn't happen, and they're looking for a kill. VS, the mid, has rotated to the bottom lane, wanting this kill, so they have to fortify to get behind the tower, swap Minizzling to the pip, double TPs are on the way. Oracle does not have the false promise available just yet, so Mataman jumping forward, looking for the kill with a swap back. Vengeful Spirit cannot escape.
They knew that was coming. They had a ward. You can see Earth Spirit running over it right now. They knew that rotation was en route, and 5-man rotate.
But Tumba does so much
he juked
damage.
The stun, or the slow, the rock.
He's beaten through. Now the rolling boulder, trying to buy him more time, but Matumbaman, you want to stay next to him, he'll just keep beating down. Jump over the pit!
Wow.
Matumbaman, you said, OD, not a Matumbaman hero. Monkey, a Matumbaman hero. And boy, is he playing it to perfection.
Yeah, this is great. This is how you want to play this hero from mid as well. Again, I have not seen anyone with a performance like this outside of mid one, but Matumbaman, as you said, demonstrating he's not just a green hero player. He can make some moves.
And then you give him the, okay. Either Matumba or Shadow get the Ancient stack, or split it.
But bear in mind, this comes back to the whole concept of damage amplification. None of that happens if he isn't empowered by GH as he leaps forward. And that's what allows him to play so aggressively and with so much confidence, because you just do too much damage at this phase of the game. That's a level 3 empower.
This is also why we see Magnus is just being put into this 4 role. It's like we don't care if he's in a 3. We don't need to run him as a 2. As a 4, as long as he empowers up the cores that need it, you're good.
And I like it a lot because you see too many times where a 3 mag just ends up, he gets the same items GH has, where he's Arcanes and now he's rushing a Blink. But that's too valuable for your not valuable enough for your 3 position. He needs to go these teamfight items, like you can see Mind Control looking to build up. Still saving gold, but you can expect something that's going to boost his team's survivability. Let your 4 be the bot.
Can someone let that courier finally deliver? It's moved back and forward a couple of times. I think someone's accidentally pressing the auto courier button, but it's got the diffuser blade from Matumbaman on it. He would have had that in 11 minutes. That's actually when he bought the rest of the recipe. But it's taken some time to get out there.
Man.
Yeah, tank up the mid tower. You don't care.
Just feel, I really like the way Liquid's game planned this. You have Undying Earth Spirit, 2 of the best supports in the patch. Undying, a lane dominator, felt completely ineffective in the lanes. Earth Spirit, the best rotator, he had to find a kill.
Coming in towards the mid, looking for the kick, able to get onto Matumbaman, and the pit combining with the Tombstone. Difficult for the Monkey King to get out of this, but now movement speed. It doesn't matter. He's surged up, so there's no slow from the Tombstone. One more attack will get rid of it, and he jumps straight back into the fight to kill off the Undying. Both supports down, and then the double slap into the Wukong's command, right around the tier 1 tower, and the RP combo from GH. It's too good. Even Shadow's coming to be involved in the fight. A triple kill for Matumbaman, and this may actually be the quickest game of the tournament so far to beat the 18-minute Secret 1. Liquid are rolling with this game.
I don't know how the panel picks VP 6 games in a row and goes against Liquid at the start of the day. Do you not know who these guys are? They have practiced, okay? They took a little vacation. They've prepped for this tournament. Yeah, they've got a stand-in, but, I mean, even though the draft could look a little unconventional, it's Liquid here.
Yeah, and they are looking bloody good. All they have to do is keep this momentum up, and Matumbaman, he's hunting more. He's got 7 kills of the 13, and he's going to make it 8. Even looking to dodge any kind of magic missile control. Mischief is just the name of his game. Echo Saber is done. So he had the Diffuser Blade at 12 minutes, and now he has the Echo Saber at 14.
Yeah, he was going to go BKB, but then he realized, well, I have way too much gold. I guess I'll just keep accelerating.
Yeah, I think I'm killing everyone really quickly, and I'm Empower buffed up really heavily and all the time, because there's no mana problems for GH. Like, he got the perfect RP, and he doesn't even have a blink dagger. He doesn't have a 4-staff. He's walking around with arcane boots and a sentry ward.
Yeah. This game was broke wide open thanks to two things: the Matumba Man rotations,
bottom lane,
and notably the Darkseer neutralized the Undying's laning presence.
And he knew he was in the tree lines. The Observer Ward would have seen his exit, and now Matumba jumps forward, gets the defusal off. At least there's a swap, but he ain't going anywhere. Matumba now up to 9 kills on this Monkey King, and they will force the bottom lane. This is the 15-minute bounty runes, which will be 2-2 split, but that's the only upside.
Another thing, the Darkseer Surge, of course, being changed. Since move speed is no longer capped, Surge gives heroes like Monkey King, really just agility heroes, they get more than haste move speed. And that's why it looks like he's just going a bit too fast. There's nothing you can do to stop this guy, and even if you're able to get him low, they can just pop an Oracle ult and he's going to heal the full in the duration.
Well, they can have a crack at GH. The silence is out, but there's your RP. Support's rotating over Kuro. He got the false promise. They need to actually kill off GH. They cannot get the TP out in time. And GH goes all the way home, now affords its Blink Dagger because they couldn't find that kill. Desolator up for the TA, and at least the Pango are trying to have a fight.
Yep. And shout out to Kuro as well. I'm not sure if that's coordinated or not, but consistently, even when they multi-man TP, he is always the first one. So I've got to assume it's him calling for these teleports, but that's important. He's the save. If he comes in after the 5 second instead of 3, Mag is going to go down there.
Oh, Matumba inside the Wukong again, use the defusal so no one can just walk straight out of it. He doesn't want to get out of it himself at the moment. Kills off the illusion of the VS. The Darkseer wall is down. 3 men just continuously backed back into it. And remember, there's still the Aegis, the Immortal of Matumba. He wants to get into this fight, but they also want to get rid of the Tombstone to create so many undying minions, mainly because of the Ancients that are stacked up. But nowhere for the Pango to run. Slayer is one more hit away from death. GH is going down to kill off the Underlord, but now Monkey King, Matumba with a slapdown, is beyond godlike. 19-1, 12 of the 19 kills belong to Monkey.
Oh my god. You know, a concept we talk about a lot nowadays is reach. I don't know if there's anything that can traverse the map as fast as this Matumba Man Monkey right now.
So easy. Deucer is down. Make it a good 13, and do you tap out? Is this actually the fastest game? I was kind of joking about it before, knowing that they're moving fast, but damn, Wings and Liquid all together.
Have you even felt like Shadow in this game? Not to say he's playing bad, but this is so casual.
How do you do that? You're eclipsed by this Monkey King. Like, Shadow's lane kind of didn't even matter at the end of the day because they never contested it. They never stopped it. And this mid matchup of just Monkey versus VS never really seemed to work either.
Like, Monkey King is such a strange hero. There's a lot of teams that pick it and play it poorly, and really just so far Secret and Liquid that I've seen impress. And when you get him ahead like this, you have Surge to back him, a 1600 cast range tree dance. Look at this.
Look at him run. Surge him up. Someone got a stun? Oh, of course they do. Monkey King's got one. Shadow will finally find himself a second kill of the game. Greaves completed as well in the Darkseer, 18 minutes in. That's going to push down mid. Look for the lane of Rax. And I don't understand like how the Pango believe they can get back into this game. They don't have a team fight. They don't have control. They don't have damage. They don't have Jack.
Man, this is the thing. You know, we talk about this a lot. You're going to play your entire group on this one day. If you're Pango, you got to take a moment just to get your shit together. Everybody gets crushed once in a while. Take these 2-3 minutes. Think about what went wrong. Go back to the drawing board. Liquid, what, number 2 seed in this tournament? You can expect them to be dominant. Just maybe like 4th seed, whatever.
Yeah, they're up there.
Yeah. Point is,
you do have 4 TI winners in one team.
5.
Well, he's not. Oh yeah, 5. Yeah, you actually don't lose them out. Nice. Never forget Wings.
Yeah. But yeah, point is, you might lose to Liquid, but realistically, that doesn't matter. You can still make up a bracket.
Oh, Matumba. He doesn't care as long as he's got the Aegis the Immortal. But Mind Control gives him a little bit more life. They pull back the Vengeful Spirit, so Matumba turns his attention. Stonegaze out from the Deucer. They have managed to control up Mind Control for just a second, but then again, Monkey King, how do they kill him off? He still hasn't done it. The slapdown will come, and Monkey King, he will die. Did he lose the Aegis during the fight? Oh, that's just unlucky for him. It's still a 3-for-1 trade-off, but that's a huge trade. A triple kill for Shadow. Now you feel the influence of the PA. Up towards Ghost Stick. In the run, hiding in the trees. Really nice use of Fog of War, so Shadow just goes completely AWOL, unable to find the Underlord.
It was a really cool play. Kuro just missed. He tried to ult him right after the Aegis procced because you don't take damage and the Aegis just keeps ticking you up because you're not actually gaining any health. would have rendered the Monkey King indestructible. Unfortunately, you know, he died, but it was a cute idea. I don't actually know if it functions like that. Curl might not. He probably does. He's a TI winner, but...
They're smoking, looking to go back in. GH has RP available. They really want to take a fight, and look at them group up! 3 heroes together, and now the cleave of the PA are gonna work! A triple kill, block the rolling boulder out, an ultra kill for Shadow.
Get him in there.
Team Liquid,
get in there.
It really is GG. They're going for more kills. You want to buy back a rampage for Shadow. Welcome to Team Liquid. GG game 1, 30-2, 20 minutes on the board. Domination was the name of this game.
Just flawless, really. Like, Liquid, they're the best at understanding how to abuse lanes, what you're looking to do and rotate around the map. And like, they had an answer for everything Pango tried to do. There were like 2 or 3 attempted gank opportunities. Earth Spirit died each and every time. It's 10 minutes in. I'm watching him just wander around under the Liquid wards. Like, what do I do, guys? I can't kill anybody.
It's perfect vision, and then it's almost the start of as well. Like, you want to have a good start. Like, Shadow's gonna have a lot of confidence after this game moving forward. But then you want the same from Pango. But what happened? The ES gives away first blood, locked in a tree line, looking to gank up on bottom lane. Okay, what do we do? Oh, we just abandon the aggressiveness of the off lane. And then the entire plan of Pango seems to just fall apart. This is a team that beat Virtus Pro. Like, I was hoping to see so much more from them in game 1. The draft felt like it could have been as well.
This is what happens when you upgrade your level of competition. Not to say, you know, the qualifiers were rough, but this is, you know, VP's just going to play standard CIS Dota. You know, they're clowning around. This is Liquid playing a completely different way, far more cerebral than I think they may have ever encountered, like, in their prep for this tournament. And they just, you know, what, 32? That's what, a shellacking, a stomp? Like, you gotta just chill. It's a long day. You might have a potential, what, 7, 8 more games? Just relax. They are better than that, and, you know, we'll see what happens.
Oh, well, game 2, they can potentially bring it back. We'll have ourselves a break for the Pango. I hate putting the at the front of a word of a team. Anyway, for Pango to regather their consciousness and come back for game 2.
Hi guys, I'm here with GH from Team Liquid. Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thanks for asking.
You've been through a pretty stressed period because there were a lot of rumors about the roster of Team Liquid that you are going to separate. You've had a vacation, pretty long one. So tell me how everything went for you. How do you feel right now?
We feel pretty good. We've had a long vacation, but after the recent news, it was kind of a setback because we expected something else. So we're trying to stay positive and keep our heads up, and we're just gonna try to do our best.
You mentioned vacation. What did you do during this vacation? Did you go somewhere to the sea, or maybe mountains and stuff like that?
It's funny because me as a player, what I like to do is just play. So my vacation was mostly spent with my friends. We went outside. We just did random stuff. Every period, like when I had my vacation, my friends also had vacation because it was Christmas break. So we had like 2 weeks together. We actually did a lot of things, from going out, road trips, going to the beach. But it's kind of snowing right now, so we went to the snow. And we just like, we hang around.
Just doing normal stuff, nothing extreme.
Well, some days we just like to do nothing, so we just sit together and do nothing together. That's our favorite part.
Do you feel like this period of doing nothing went good for you, for your mentality, I don't know, for motivation?
It's always like this. Whenever we stop playing for a long time, which is 1 week or 2 weeks, we always get the hunger back and we just want to come back stronger and win. So whenever we take this big break of 2 weeks, we just come back with more energy, more fire, and we're just more prepared.
You guys missed KL Major. What did you feel watching such a big tournament, like an ordinary viewer?
So it's always fun to watch tournaments, especially Dota tournaments. It's unfortunate that we didn't get to play, because every time I watch a tournament, I feel like I want to play in this tournament, even though it was our decision to take a longer break. But I always have this feeling that I actually want to play everything. But I know that on the long run, it's not healthy for me or for my team to just participate in everything. And we just need to take our proper breaks just to come back.
Recently, you've lost your coach, Hin, who was with you like for 2 years or something. Tell me about this situation. Who is now coaching Team Liquid?
Well, the situation took place, it was kind of different and I want to say unexpected. Hin has been with us for 2 years. He actually joined the team, I think, a couple of months before I did. Hin was great. I like Hin a lot. We were good together, like the team and Hin. We liked each other. We didn't have any issues. We just had a lot of discussions. But I think he just wanted to move on to the next step of what he wants to do and just take a break from this, or just maybe he had something else on his mind. So basically he just did what he wanted to do, and our separation, as unfortunate as it might seem, I think it's the next step for us to grow as individuals and as a team.
And what's next? Are you looking for the coach, or you already have someone?
We've had I think it's unofficial that we have the coach RMN. We've had him for 2 months or so, right before we had him in Megaphone Winter Clash, and now we still have him. Things are going good. He's trying to have as much impact as he can on the team and on the players. We try to discuss whatever we think about, and so far it's going good.
So do you feel this connection that should be between the player and coach?
The connection that, every team is different, especially players are different, because every player needs a proper approach just so the person can get to him. So I think that we as players are pretty difficult because it's just in our nature to be like more closed on ourselves and not open to have regular conversations. But I think he's just doing a good job trying to get through to us and trying to help us.
About the situation that is now on the major, because you came here without Miracle, obviously is a big loss for you as a team. Tell me what's happening right now. How do you feel yourself playing with Shadow, and what to expect from Liquid with the current roster?
We have the thing called expectation that we don't really think about, because we feel that expectations can cause a lot of pressure, so we just remove any expectations that we have. Okay, the thing with the Miracle, I think it's unfortunate what happened, especially like a couple of days before the major starts. He has some internal issues that I'm not sure, that I'm not gonna discuss here.
No, we can skip that.
Yeah, so he has some internal issues and he couldn't make it. But I feel like this separation that we're having in this tournament will cause us to feel better as a team later on as the year progresses and as the season goes through. I feel like this is a learning experience, even though the way I like to look at it is anything that happens unexpectedly or out of the normal is something that we can help us to grow and to become better or more accepting to one another.
All right, so I won't ask you about the expectations of the placement and everything else. I just will wish you good luck on the tournament. Obviously, you have a lot of fans all around the world. Maybe you have something to say to them.
Yeah, of course. I always want to thank the fans for their support. Every day we come out here, we work our hardest just to perform good for you and for ourselves. So I just want to thank you for all the support, and thank you for being the fans. And thank you for supporting us and being with us every day.
Thank you very much for this interview. And you guys, stay tuned.
The more information you have, the better the decisions. Data is crucial to do important decisions in Dota games and even before the Dota game in preparation. It's really cool that a big company like SAP is investing into esports, and that I can be a part of it is amazing.
First game of the day, and probably one of the biggest blowouts that we've seen so far in the tournament. I think this is pretty clear cut that it is one of the biggest blowouts in the tournament, and also our analysts predicted it wrong. No shots fired by me. Kyle did fire a shot, though, during his cast, saying you guys predicted VP 6 times in a row yesterday.
We said we think Liquid's going to win. We just said we like Pengo's draft. Their draft can be good and they can still lose.
And I think that this is an important thing to bring up.
So
right?
Black, we were right.
Yeah,
we're
fine.
We didn't say Liquid were going to lose that game.
Black's never been wrong yet.
Yeah,
I mean, that still holds true. But ultimately, the reason that you guys did predict that Pengo had a good shot was because of the draft. The draft was very strong. But even with such a strong draft, they're not able to take down Liquid. What does that say for the rest of the series?
They may just get stumped again. That's what it says to me. I mean, Liquid's early game is just so insanely good. They won the early game with a 4-position Magnus. That's going to be one of the lowest impact 4-position heroes for the first 10 minutes of the game, perhaps. But, I mean, he is a good support because of what he offers later on, but they crushed the early game with a Magnus.
I was pretty disappointed in King's performance. Like, he's the Earth Spirit. He's the only one who can really rotate and make things happen. And he was lowest net worth for, like, most of the game. And, you know, he will have to step up in the next game if they want to compete with Liquid, because this early game prowess that they have, like, you can't just stand in lanes and expect to win against a team like Liquid. You gotta be proactive and you gotta just make things happen, you know.
Liquid got all 4 bounty runes. They started getting kills. They were winning all 3 lanes effectively. I think the one lane Medusa against Darkseid was going fine for Pengo, but it's a Medusa. You can't have the one lane that's going well be the Medusa lane, because that's not a hero that's going to be able to solve the issues in the game. It's a hero that's going to want to keep farming.
Now, we talk about some of maybe the disappointing heroes. How do we feel about Monkey King just going off? I feel like that's one of the most interesting things to talk about.
I mean, Matsu just...
He was the standout, probably.
Yeah, he put on the clinic. Yeah. What to say? Like, he literally just almost solo carried the game.
It was a bit weird they sent the Venge mid, I think, because that's not like a counter in lane. You're pretty low. Yeah, Monkey did win that matchup. Had like double Venge's CS. You've got short range on Venge. Medusa is also, I think, a decent matchup for Monkey, but Medusa doesn't need to crush her matchup. If she just goes there and gets some farm and levels, you're happy with that, and your Venge can then, carry the mid game because your Venge is a good game. The Venge pick itself was maybe a bit odd. Picking a hero like a Jug who could have laned against Darkseid would have looked a whole lot better. But all in all, I think Pengo just, got outplayed. Not really outdrafted or anything.
How do we feel Shadow feels in this current situation? Pretty happy?
I mean, we said it before. Hey, no offense to him, but we could have probably put you on there on Team Liquid in this kind of particular game, and you would have won too.
Yeah.
That's how it looked like, at least.
I'm not going to say that if you put me on Team Liquid right now, I would win. I'm definitely not going to say that in my second day hosting Dota.
Black's saying it, don't worry.
No, I said the first game in specific. Like, the second game might be different. I'm just saying, if a game goes like this, where the Monkey King literally just, like, pretty much solo carries the game, there's not much to do for Shadow. Like, he played fine, he did what he had to do, but he wasn't really tested or anything.
But he basically didn't have to do much, right? Yeah. And that was something that we kind of alluded to on the panel before we even jumped into this. When you look at Team Liquid, yes, they do have a stand-in, but they have so many strong pieces that you could take away one of their players, even if it is one of the best players in the world, and they're still going to be able to go head-to-head with a lot of teams. When they get tested a little bit later on in the tournament, will this still be the situation that they're in? Maybe not, but they look pretty damn good in the rest of this series. The question is, how does Pengo find their stride, or are they just going to get taken down in this next game?
King R, I think, is a very big factor for me. As I just said, he will have to step up. He will have to make the early game go better, go smoother. You can't lose 3 lanes against a team like Liquid. They will run you over. You need to at least win 1, go even in 1 to have a chance at even beating them. And I think he will be the player I'm looking at to make that happen.
13 kills with Monkey there inside of our game. How long did that game even go?
21 minutes or so.
Yeah. And it was done and dusted before we even made it to that mark.
Yep.
Shadow picked up some good stats towards the end there. Got some nice cleaves in the RP.
Got a rampage.
Yeah. I mean, he did some stat pad in there. He's like, yeah, guys, what are you talking about, panelists? I did lots this game. But the game was very much over by that point. But again, not to take away from Shadow, that this is what Liquid do. I mean, this could have been Miracle playing PA, and we'd be sitting here saying, Miracle didn't do much this game because he didn't need to. That was just the nature of, that's the role Liquid are putting Shadow in. What the true test is going to come in those close games. Can Shadow step up? And he's a great player. I think there's a chance that he can.
Well, something that something that the casters mentioned though too, if you're Shadow, now you got that confidence boost, right? When you actually do get tested, now you have that moment when you're gelling with the team, and it's pretty easy to gel with somebody when you're doing well, right? Now, when Shadow does move forward, he's already gotten loose, he's gotten to practice with Liquid and somewhat figure out how to fit into this team. For Pango, though, they have the opposite. Do you think that this is pretty detrimental to them for the rest of the tournament as well, even when we do get out of group play?
I think it's okay. A lot of the time, losing in this fashion doesn't actually hurt a team's mentality too much. It's just like, well, we got stomped. Everything went wrong. It's very easy to shrug off the games where you get stomped in 15, 20 minutes. It's harder to shrug off the games that go 40, 50, 60 minutes and you make some crucial mistakes that can tilt you. You don't get tilted losing like this.
Yeah. I think the worst case scenario is if you're like ahead and then you lose again and you should have won. That's like the worst case scenario for a team.
Those games can snowball into another loss and another loss, whereas a game like this, I don't
off,
think it affects how they're going to play in game 2, but with that said, I also think Liquid's way better and is probably going to 2-0 them. So
I mean, they must know it's like Liquid is just a beast. Like even losing to Liquid, they'll still try to play their best in the next match they have after that. So losing to Liquid, there's no shame in it. So
yeah, and also I feel like one of the things with it being groups as well, you do feel, especially when you do have something like a stand-in where you have a little bit of wiggle room. Even if you do drop down to the lower portion of the bracket, you're going to make it to the double elimination bracket. You have those 2 days to get loose, to get limber. But we're going to have to see what Pango can actually do when we jump into this second game. But it seems like you guys are pretty confident in Liquid already. It's pretty scary place to be. If you're
exactly. Yesterday we rode the VP. Today we should be just riding Liquid. Liquid Vici could be really good series, actually. I think yesterday VP didn't really have a team in their group who was going to push them to the limit. Even though both their series were 2-1 wins, it still felt like VP was always the better team. We could see if Vici's playing really good Dota, they can act. If they're playing their best Dota, they're better than Liquid with the stand-in, I would say.
But don't write off J-Storm.
Oh,
they could make it.
Who knows how good? J-Storm's just an enigma. We don't know how good they are.
Yeah.
I do want to take a second here to mention as well, our official analytics partner on the desk throughout the entire tournament is going to be SAP. Thank you very much for everything that you have been doing for this tournament so far. And now let's actually start to talk about some numbers here. Let's actually start to think about what we've seen so far in the draft. We saw some early Medusas. Do you think that there's some potential to see that again when we do jump down into this next draft? Already it is getting started.
I think teams like VG, that are like very stable. I think they're looking to pick up like a Medusa first too.
Yeah,
why not?
It's kind of a CIS classic, so we may see. I don't think it's a terrible idea. I think the bigger issue was those other lanes where they put the Venge mid. You need to make sure that when you have a Medusa, you can't have your other lanes go poorly. Yeah. You need to focus on those side lanes winning, because Medusa mid, it's just one of those whatever lanes. It's this hero that catches up, so you don't need to put everything on giving Medusa a good start.
Yeah, but actually just put it mid. Like, don't just put a safe lane. A safe lane Medusa is not great.
The support sitting there Medusa is just like, all right, I'm babysitting a Medusa. What? I don't feel very useful. But
you want to babysit playmakers, always. You want to babysit a Jack who can make space for the Medusa. You don't want to babysit the Medusa who makes space for herself only. That makes no sense. So just put it middle. She can stack her own camps. Just let her farm by herself. You do not need to babysit her. Period.
Ultimately, when we did look at Liquid and how they managed to get their picks sorted out before we jumped down the first map, you weren't as confident on the panel with what they went with, but it seemed to work really well. Is that just them picking something that's very much out of the meta and they've clearly been working towards?
They went, I guess, pretty standard meta because it's just Mag PA. I think we felt a little hesitant because we haven't seen this first pick Mag work. It didn't work for TNC, partly because it was so predictable. They get game after game. And that's why this game 2 draft, what we're seeing is Liquid could have done Mag PA again, but they said, no, we're going to do something different. I think you don't want to make your drafts too predictable because otherwise teams can game plan for you. So, game 1, let's pick Mag plus PA. Standard combo, everyone knows it. Super meta, super standard. Game 2, totally different. Sven Coddle.
Some of this pocket and some from this box and just mix it all together.
So come playoffs, when you're versing Liquid, you don't know what their opening pick is going to be. Whereas if you're versing TNC, you leave Mag in the pool, they're probably picking Mag.
Definitely. And we're starting to see Liquid just show a lot of different styles that they can bring here as we start to move forward in the draft. And what do we expect for Pango to do in this scenario?
I mean, they would definitely want to pick up Magnus partner. The PA has been banned by Liquid. Obviously, they give it a lot of respect. Their first 2 at last game.
Yep.
The PA Magnus combo is one of the most potent ones in the game. Because PA is actually one of the fastest carries in the game with the Magnus compared to like an anti-mage, maybe even a Juggernaut. Like PA is just the fastest. So what's left there for them? I mean, I guess you could go for a Juggernaut if you want to, but it's not the best against Sven.
I haven't seen much Troll. Are you a Troll player at all? Is that hero any good?
I'm a Troll fan, actually. He's quite strong with like the new ultimate. You're basically immune for like 5-6 seconds, where you just deal a crap ton of damage, and nobody can actually do anything to you. So I think he's a bit underrated.
He's very strong laner, good at killing rogues. Like he ticks some good boxes, I think, when you're looking at which carries to pick.
And Crit got #1 in the leaderboard by spamming Troll.
Troll and Earth Spirit.
Troll and Earth Spirit, yep. His Troll is good.
He's playing mid Earth Spirit too. That hero with like a couple bracers and some treads, it's just got like 2k health at 15 minutes in the game.
Mid Earth Spirit is the thing. You just go like triple brace, as you said, and you just go like earn Radiance.
That hero has like the second highest strength gain in Dota?
Right after Centaur.
Yeah. He's
even more than Pudge, which is like, he's a fucking like
Pudge gets free strength though, you know?
Yeah, but he's a meat pile. How does a meat pile have less strength gain than a rock? Rock dude.
I have no answers for you. What about Tiny, speaking of rock dude? Where's Tiny's strength?
Yeah, what is that, like 3.3 or something? Not that good.
No.
Not that good.
Moving along here in our draft.
Seeing the Darkseer being banned. Darkseer Sven, one of the strongest lanes in Dota probably. Lots of pressure potential.
Darkseer Sven?
You don't think so?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen much Darkseer Sven, but that doesn't stand out as like, oh, you've lost the game with Darkseer Sven.
I mean, it's not. It's a super pressure lane though. Like a hard carry will never be able to farm against that lane.
Yeah.
Because there's just 2 tanky heroes running at you with Iron Shells.
Okay. But GH Coddle though. I feel like
Coddle.
he's more likely playing the 4 position.
Coddle, yeah, for sure. Like Kuro is gonna be like on the StarLadder, yeah.
I'm a fan of this year. I think StarLadder is a bit underpicked right now.
We spoke about it against the Mag as well. Yeah. Very good against the Mag. Lich, very good response, of course, against the StarLadder. Mostly physical damage. You have the Frost Shield.
Yeah, you're expecting some kind of physical damage cores to come out alongside the Corrosive Haze. So getting the Lich, and also it's Lich. I'm surprised it makes it this far into the draft when it's been the most picked hero and has such a good win rate.
Last game also, first phase nobody picked it up. Was being ignored.
Yeah. Did it get
I think it was banned second phase.
And we were talking about just how influential Lich has been already in this tournament. We're seeing it very early in most of the drafts. What is it about the Lich that has been so strong?
After the rework, you've got way more tools than the hero used to have. You've got to disable Sinister Gaze in the mid game. You can stop people TPing away. It's just crazy. And then his new Frost Armor is so insanely good when you can put it on some carry that's just going to run in the laning stage. His laning stage is just one of the strongest right now.
And you have like a double slow as well. Frost Nova plus Frost Shield actually stacks your slow by like 70%. And it's just such strong laner that is never a bad pick. Like you can just pick him first 2, as many teams have, and you don't show anything. He can go pretty much any lane, and just super versatile. But what do you think about this Dazzle Lich combo? I guess Dazzle could be a core, but it's still
neither's really a 4 position. If anything, I guess Dazzle Mag as a 3/4 is likely the off lane.
But Jack is also gone now.
Or even Dazzle mid. Sailor may just be a mid Dazzle guy.
Terrorblade. The Jack counter #1 doesn't really care about StarLadder too much. Even level 1, he already has more armor than his old removes.
Because he cares, but the Coddle's kind of annoying to play into. That's probably the one here on the other side. You're like, eh.
The lane can be scary, honestly. Like a Coddled StarLadder, or even Sven Coddle, something like that. If you get just stunned and blasted, you lose half your health. The laning phase is the crucial part for the TB. But if you can get out of the laning phase, the TB will crush this Juggernaut.
Well, and even if you're behind, you've got Empower, so you can flash farm. You're going to have that farming tool where you can just hit the jungle with Empower, catch up eventually. Again, same thing. You can have a hero playing catch up like a Medusa or TB, but your other lanes need to go well. So I don't think the Pango have to prioritize winning TB's lane, but they need to make sure they have heroes who can create space for him.
I'm a bit afraid for them, though. They have a Mag and TB already, which usually indicates 2 weaker lanes. So And Liquid have a lot of strong laners.
So they're going to do Lich TB and then maybe Mag Dazzle, and then they need a mid, or they do Dazzle mid and then they need a King R 4 position hero.
Yeah.
Work. I think getting a Space Granny mid Kunkka banned out would have been ideal for them here.
I mean, they have no stun right now. The only stun they have is like a Lich.
like a Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight even himself isn't like a huge playmaker. He's like an early mid-game focused hero, but he's not a guy who's gonna, I feel like, do enough.
Yeah, if they DK, I could see Liquid pick up a Shadow Fiend, or even Timber Saw could be really good for them. Matu Timber. Actually, yeah, you look at it already, I think Timber Saw is like an amazing pick for them, for Liquid.
Yeah, that was, well, I think one of the heroes I saw start coming out a lot when Magnus was being played, because you can just send him down there and he's just going to crush the lane and put so much pressure on your lanes.
Yeah. If the Pango pick, I think the DK, we're definitely going to see
I don't think DK is going to be good here.
Yeah, but what else? I mean, they definitely need some kind of space. They need a Pugna maybe.
Pugna,
something
that's
like that.
exactly what I was going to say. It doesn't have a stun, but it pressures, it takes towers. Decrep can be pretty good against the StarLadder Jug.
Yeah, Pugna looks good. What else is there?
That's the ideal. That's what you're looking for here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're stuck thinking of options. Hopefully, Pango's got some good ideas.
Yeah. Hopefully not Avenge mid again.
Yeah.
I don't know why people started doing that in CS. I feel it's very underwhelming in mid lane.
Yeah, it was happening in NA a bit too. Like I remember a few of the streamers I was watching there were just trying out this mid bench, but never came into the actual pro games so much because
it looks very underwhelming.
It's not an amazing mid.
So on the side of Pango, we know what we're looking for. What are you guys thinking about Liquid?
Liquid's,
it depends on Pango, I think.
Yeah, Liquid's going to respond to the matchup and try to get a good hero matchup.
And partner.
So they're going to do mid dazzle then.
I think Timbersaw still looks amazing here. So it is an offlane axe and dazzle.
So axe versus Jug, this has always been one of the kind of go-to counters, just the ability to blink
Cancel
call him with
TP.
blade mail. You catch him, you stop him using the all his escapes, and you can actually burst him down. So it gives him catch because that was something they really lacked.
So it's a dazzle mid, axe offlane, and the safe in TB position 4 mag, position 5 lich. Lineup looks good.
So now you're responding to a mid dazzle. So Liquid's going to look for something that has at least decent matchup there.
I think just for the game though, they need something like a Timber, like a space creator, something that can kind of pressure towers.
And there it is.
And there it is.
You guys pretty much called that pretty early here. So we are going to see now everything rounded out. And if you remember in our first game, one of the big things that we did say was Pango kind of won the draft. It looked like they had a really strong draft, but ultimately, the second that we actually do touch down to the game, we see Liquid run away with it in one of the most convincing games we've seen in the entire tournament. That makes Liquid look really good. This time, did Pango even remotely win the draft?
I think the draft honestly looks pretty good, not gonna lie.
For Pango?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Against Liquid's draft, I think Pango has good lanes. They have a chance to win 2 out of 3 lanes. So I think the draft, again, they can definitely win this game. But after seeing what I just saw from Liquid, I give them very little chance.
I don't think Liquid outdrafted game 1. I think that, again, it's both teams have different styles of draft, different ways to win, but Liquid's just way, way better right now.
It looks pretty tough to go against Liquid. I kind of feel like we may have a 2-0 on our hands, but we're about to find out. We're jumping over to the casters.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magnus Gaming. I'm Toby1. I'm here with Kyle. We're going to get this hero on almost every game we cast.
For sure, 100%. And it's going to be the opener as well, I would imagine. Like, they just,
Yeah.
it's too good. It's been nerfed like 3 patches in a row. It just doesn't matter. You're giving cleave and bonus damage to a hero like Terrorblade. Like, I don't know. I've played some game pubs where like it's like 19, 20 minutes in, you're losing. You take 1 fight and you've killed a tier 3.
Yeah.
It's just that fast.
Yeah. But it's also the momentum that we saw, like Liquid were using it in game 1 of this series, and you're seeing the amplification of so much farm, and Matubberman's ability to go in and just get instant kills as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it's real scary.
Yeah, and I like what they've done again. It's a Matumbaman hero for sure. He's got an excellent Timber Saw. Liquid notably can play it on all 3 of their cores. And I just, once again, really like what they've done in their lineup, where Shadow's going to just have an easy time. I think StarLadder is a hero we're going to see a lot more as this tournament progresses, as that next tier replacement for heroes like Mag.
Yeah.
Universe notably crushed on it yesterday in the 1 game they took against Secret in the upper bracket final, or decider match rather, in the other group. And it just looks insane. It's so much minus armor, and when you consider these heroes like Lich, Mag, Dazzle, even Axe after his taunt buff fades, like they're gonna get shredded by an Omni Slash.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see like just how shredded they do get. Like if Magnus is able to buff them up, if the lanes can go well, maybe that's something else we can look at. But Tubberman, it kind of felt like he just stomped all over the mid lane. But now he's got a very different matchup. Now he's going to be running against the Dazzle in the mid. Like, how's that matchup actually meant to work? Like, does Dazzle harass out the Tempest, or is this Poison Touch versus Reactive Armor kind of combo?
It's situational. I think that I'd favor... I want to say I favor Dazzle, but if you don't win the early couple waves hard, Timbersaw starts to he just doesn't care about your damage. But real quick before we move on, can we go to StarLadder real fast while we're paused and hover over that third ability?
So we're looking at the bash.
This is why this hero is nuts. There's so much in the lane that matters nowadays. People are maxing bash. You charge up a bash and then walk at the enemy and hit them at level 3 for a bonus 125 physical damage.
Not too shabby.
Not that bad. It's bonkers. Like when you initiate now with the Blink Dagger, all you charge up a bash, you hit them, and then they're stunned. You hit them, you stun, you hit them and hit them. It's
perma-bash days.
Exactly. Even though the stun was nerfed and now it's like it's more about the slow, which lasts for 6 seconds when it used to be 4 or 3, I believe. The stun is only a second, but because you can charge up a bash, it's just even worse. It's like chain stunning someone.
I remember I joked about during the minor because I was watching Sing Sing play it, and he got 2 moon shards. By the time the bash had worn off, he'd already attacked to get the next bash. It was all he had to do was just be free to attack, and you were great. You were fine.
And it's also cleansable only by strong dispels. So certain dispels, like Oracle as an example, won't cleanse it. And in addition, it punctures through BKB. It's so good. It's so good. You ant people through BKB, you bash them, and you're just giggling, and then all of a sudden your carry can just show up and be like, hey, me too. But
there really is no dispels as well. Like, the only hope you'd have is to get a Sunder off, but now you may have to be even a little bit more cautious about that, because it's not just the stun stopping you from doing the Sunder, it's the bonus damage that could just put you in the grave.
And it's just a nice mix of damage, which is part of the reason I just like this lineup, because you have so much pure damage. You have the Timbersaw pure damage. Coddle, just Coddle itself sort of forces you to buy BKB, but then there's also a StarLadder and a Jug, and you're just thinking like, shit, if I'm a Dazzle, I feel like I might even need a casual Buckler. And it's a very difficult game to itemize because you sort of have to deal with everything.
Yeah, we have a small delay. We're actually exactly uncertain why, as there's nothing inside the chat, so the teams must be talking by themselves of why they're moving forward. Okay, and maybe that's one of the reasons why Tubberman just DC'd from the game and then they unpaused. That's not going to remain.
GH misclicked. It's fine.
They're actually all DCing.
No, well...
Yeah, everyone's DCing. I think we're having a remake.
It's cool. They can look at us anyway.
Yeah, they can look at us looking at our screens.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I hope we see Pango demonstrate, like, I don't know. I just feel bad. Like, I was reading some comments, and I agree with them. Like, Zayak is so much harder to replace than Miracle. Okay. That'll sound crazy. Let me rephrase that before I get obliterated, okay?
Yeah.
Miracle, he's obviously like the best player in the world. But you can fit he can be replaced in what he needs to do for Liquid easier than Pango can Zayak, because he made so many calls, he made so many plays, he was this star 4 position, and now it's just like, oh, we've got this guy. And King R, he's a good player, but there's a reason he's yet to really break out in the scene as a top talent.
Well, we're going to have a small break, and Carl can give you some more brain-provoking thoughts after the break. We'll be back. Welcome back, everybody. It is Team Liquid versus the Pango. It is game 2 of our first round of Group C. So far, Liquid up very, very strong in game 1. We're past our technical problems. And as always, you know what? You get these things done quickly. Get game after game after game. So you don't have to wait around to do anything. You have time for a quick pee, and that is all. Let's get to the game.
Yeah, please. I'm ready.
We will break it down the drafts before as well. Of course, we have our wonderful Magnus pickup. This time it's going to change size in the hands of Pango, the Pango. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to just tell everyone right now why the hell that triggers me. You ever listen to a caster who says, the Team Liquid, or the Mind Control?
Yeah, what about a caster that says, in the mid?
Yeah, I do that. In the mid, these are the bad filler words, like over the top. Yeah. Over the top is another bad one.
It's hard to stop, but at least, you know, you didn't name yourself after. Like, what if you were the Toby-Mon? Well, that is what you make us call you, but at least it's not publicly.
I do not make you. That's lies, and deceit.
Dude,
Lord Swindles is what he makes us call him.
Damn straight. This game is going to be incredibly important that Ghostic has a good time. You look at the draft concepts, right? Think about how these teams would take an engagement 5-on-5. Liquid, you have a Coddle that's just going to be so easily protected. Whereas on the side of Pango, if Axe isn't just creating some sort of chaos, I feel like these supports and the Terrorblade are going to be very exposed. Yeah, there's a Mag, but like, who's really a great RP target right now?
Yeah.
Like, you got 3 Strength Heroes and a Juggernaut.
And even if you do get the jump in, like, you're going to get Blinding Lighted back, everyone wants to jump forward, then Ignis is going to cause you a large amount of problems. I'm kind of watching this top lane a little closely, where Kuro's positioning is. Now, he's not even doing Observer Warding, he's holding it in his backpack, but this is that aggressive tri lane. Hidden in the trees, Magnus can come from the side, Lich is already TP'd off the bottom lane, so bottom lane is now a straight up 1v1, but they're looking for the Stormbolt, into the spin, maybe with the Frost Armor, is still not enough. They get the great initiation now. Even better, Kuro TP out. Ooh, does not get it in time. That was ballsy.
That was a little ambitious.
Yeah, it's going to cost him, though. Like, getting back into lane will take a long time now for this event. He'll have to walk it.
Yeah. It's all right, though, because you look, the lane's actually pushing pretty hard, so it's not as if his presence is going to be missed here. Really like that move from Liquid, though, and this is just what makes them so smart, right? They recognize, hey, this guy popped meta. We have a Stormbolt Coddle Blast combo with a spin that's guaranteed taking this guy down. Do it right away.
Yep. GH is on the run away from Kinga.
Yep.
Do not let them get in any closer. But just this kind of like very expensive usage of Frost Shield. Like, if Slayer can't find anything from it.
Yeah, and real quick, this is another thing Liquid does that is just, again, I just like it. Because top wave was pushed, because they know there's no meta, Kuro thinks, hey, I can impact this game a lot more by just going bottom and annoying the Axe. He enables the StarLadder of Mind Control to get those hard camp CS because he's now just going to chase the Axe away, forces him to do this. And
as long as Kuro doesn't die. Kuro may have to Stormbolt to get some space. That's a level 2 spin that Ghostic got, and he had a creep wave that was attacking him from behind. Hence, Kuro was actually getting spun on.
But he is preventing the Axe from doing what he wants to do, which is this right here. He's going to start walking up the high ground and look to farm jungle camp along with the creep wave.
Yeah, but Mind Control's already doing exactly the same type of thing. Like, he's grabbing the creep wave and then pulling it over. In fact, it looks like he's going to have to... Well, I think he can delay this creep wave much more. They're going again now, this time closer on GH. Skewer forward, just trying to keep that Frost Shield in range, but with the Illuminate Blast and the spin, Lich will fall. GH will not make it to safety, so once again a kill on top lane goes the way of Liquid with a rebuttal instantly after.
Yeah, but they're fine with this just because the lane is pushing, and it really, meta is still on cooldown. Like, that was so huge, and it is really just something you don't see really brought up enough, is that a lot of Dota is utilizing your power spikes and finding kills when they can most annoy your enemy.
Matampa's in a bit of trouble.
He's fine.
You sure? I always worry a little bit, but with 10 reactive armor charges, yeah, maybe he is okay.
Yeah, the Q of Dazzle, of course, does physical damage, so when you're a Timbersaw with 11 armor, or 10 armor rather, thanks to your passive, you're good. Wow, it's actually 1.4 per stack. That's crazy. That's 14 armor and 12 health regen at level 3.
Sure. Easy. Mind Control's having a couple more problems on bottom lane now against this Axe. Because the lane's like, it's actually kind of, like, doesn't this actually work against mind control when it's lane on lane action? Because it means he's got to come in close against Ghostic, who is just putting all the points up into spin. No battle, hunger, harassment. It's a 1-1-3 build on the Axe.
He's going the farming build. He'll probably go Vanguard first as well. And this is something, I like his decision to get the Ring of Health max spin because it prevents mind control from ever really threatening or harassing him. And that's how StarLadder likes to win his lane. You can see he is maxing out the bash. That's 175 physical damage per bash. But as Axe, you can kind of just ignore that. You're going to deal just as much back, and StarLadder doesn't have that regen advantage.
And it's nice to see mind control preparing it on the creep wave and then just making the most of it into Ghostic. So he can crush him up now, but he doesn't want to stay close. If that Axe core goes off with the creep wave, mind control is going to take so much damage, he cannot repair it. Matumban is also just being continuously pressured out of this mid lane. Yes, he's not getting too far behind in the CS. You'll probably also want to know that regeneration rune is in the bottom of the river. But it feels like Dazzle's off to a pretty damn good start. And Dazzle is now going to move down and grab the regen, while the aggressive move from Liquid, trying to find Naive and push him out of his own jungle. Because they have abandoned top lane. They do not want to go anywhere near Shadow.
This just feels like, while the game is even, Liquid's got to be comfortable with this. They're trading in effectively all their lanes.
They're not trading bounty runes, however. They're going to lose, like, all 4 bounty runes go the way of Pango. As Slayer, who claimed both of them on the top lane, he's now going for the hunt of GH. Maybe not the best place to be underneath the shrine. Anyone going to stun on extra damage? The one tree that was standing next to him gives Matumba the damage to help GH find the kill.
I'm really surprised he TP'd out there. I would have probably just kept moving left, try and TP out of the trees. Even if you die over there trying to TP out, at least you force Matumba Man to waste a creep wave, and it's the very valuable catapult wave as well. Dazzle would have got some tower damage off, were Matumba to waste another 10-15 seconds.
They may look for a fight in mid. GH is rotating over. They're really trying to be on top of this Terrorblade.
Look at Kuro.
I don't know what he's looking for. If he's looking for the courier, maybe?
Hey, but no, he's just gaining information. He was probably going to link up with the GH in the jungle there where they just placed that ward, but he just gained valuable intel. He knows that this Lich has just respawned and is walking out on map with 3 wards. They got to go somewhere. He'll buy some sentries soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, that deep observer ward also allows GH to leech some experience, and Kuro will now move over. Bottom lane has been pretty aggressive, but you do have the amplification now available. So Ghostic may be a little bit more cautious about coming underneath the tower. Well, when is this attack going to come towards mid? I'm waiting for them to attack into Dazzle. Try and change that equilibrium.
I don't think Dazzle's really a hero you want to mess with at this stage, though. And interesting, Sailor actually choosing to rush Medallion. You don't see that very often. Typically, there's the Necro Rush, of course, but he's choosing a different tact.
Interesting. Why Medallion though? Like, what's he looking to bring down? Like, they're not going to do Roshan early on.
You can do it very early, especially with an Axe Vanguard, but...
You think the Terrorblade has enough damage for this at the moment? Especially when he's being pushed down the lane?
Yeah, I mean...
Like, he's using his Metamorphosis, which just timed out to farm up in the tree line. Matumban chasing after the Lich. One more attack with the Shark will be good. When that's in 1 second time, he'll come off cooldown. Okay, he'll just do it the old-fashioned way. But Dazzle's going to have his own fight. Matumba's going to have nothing of it. Straight TP. And he actually goes to the tier 1 tower in mid. Does not want to back off. This is regeneration timber.
That was a really good decision by Matumba to TP out, though, because he might have actually died. He had 0 stacks of armor. And when you have that early Medallion as a Dazzle, all of a sudden, this Timbersaw looked a lot squishier. But max reactive, when you get all the way up to full stacks, I mean, he's full health almost already.
Then Medallion won't matter as much, right?
Yep, exactly. It actually does. It's a worthless item when you have that much armor. It increases the damage taken by
going bottom lane. Mind control should die. Cole already going to pull him back in, and he can't move away. The Frost Shield slowing down the movement speed, but then Ghostic, he hasn't got the Culling Blade off. He waited a little too long, so Shadow begins his own TP in. Amplifications there. Is there a rush to cancel the TP? Staying out of range, so no chance for a spin. And Shadow will find now his 3rd kill of the game. With the rotation to bottom.
That's a 350 radius ability, and I think he was right in that 340 to 350 window. Pretty much a max range stun, 1/10 of a second before the TP goes off. So, I mean, what you'd expect from Mind Control. The guy did win a TI, and even Miracle says that he's their best player.
Oh, I think GH Keeper of the Line was his TI winning hero, and he'll dine it in the top lane. Good movement. This is good space for the Magnus, but remember they've got that space because the tier 1 tower has already fallen on the top lane. Shadow is taking care of the bottom lane at the moment, with Kuro and Mind Control hanging by in case they are required, as Matumba adds pressure to the mid tier 1. Of course, the Pango is very aware of this. They've got 2 dire observer wards watching any kind of movement down to the southern lane.
I like this movement from Liquid once again. Like, the top tower's dead. They've pushed the wave significantly. They throw the Coddle middle, who's just going to prevent Dazzle, who even though he's level 9, can't do a damn thing to stop GH from killing his creep wave. The rest of Liquid, you just go bottom, and you can't stop this push. They're too strong.
I suppose they can do one thing. They just Illuminate. I mean, they just Fortify, so the Illuminate does no damage at all. Shadow with the healing ward. The sustain of the creep wave is just too good. Mind Control will come in to lend a hand. Ghostic has Vanguard available, so he is fairly tanky. And they're going to try and keep this tower alive a little longer with the Frost Shield on top of it. But they really want to have this fight. Dazzle TPing as well, but Wings is all, Liquid is already backing up.
Yeah, and this GH just doing such a great job. He stops the mid pressure. Look at this ward that he placed himself, scouting out the Sailor rotation. That's something Liquid loves to do. These defensive wards that sniff out movements that they can expect because they know this is where you want to be pressuring. If it's not mid, my team's bottom, someone's going to come and try and link with this Terror Blade. Completely ineffective. Sailor just wasting time.
The chaining stuns is so good. Here comes the Storm Bolt. Thought I might have actually clipped the Axe as well, but Axe will trigger the Shrine, and that brings Mind Control a little bit closer back in, but then again, the Axe call, not as much control as you would expect it to be, and with Matumba rotating in,
yep.
GH is the one to find, really. He's the one to find the kill, but either way, they find the kill.
That Vanguard does absolutely nothing because he's got no armor. As soon as he gets amped, he goes from 4 armor to -6. Bear in mind, that bash, that's physical damage. It's not 225 all of a sudden. It's increased by like 20-25%. That makes it about 300. Who cares about your block? You're getting hit for 400.
Yep. Meanwhile, Juggernaut gets to have a great old time. Like, yeah. This is really the Wings +4. +4 create space for Shadow.
They're just so fluid around the map. Like, all of a sudden, you've got 3 heroes of Liquid mid. They're pressuring here, and Timber saw you can't kill him, and it forces now 3 heroes from Pango to just sit here and watch. As you said, Shadow free farms bottom. Now he's going to go link towards mid and ensure this tower dies. And your StarLadder's top, about to finish up his Vlad's.
At least the Observer Ward saw him move over, so Pango have some information of what they can... Okay, they're going to fortify again. Naive is going to go for a trade-off. He's going to look for the tier 1 tower on bottom, but then he's not here for this engagement. A huge Illuminate Coddle Blast hits the back lines. Shadow Wave has to try and do the heal, but this is not how Dazzle wants to play. He wants to be the aggressor. Yeah. He doesn't want to be the defender. He's the mid.
It just feels like the Liquid's got Pango's neck in a noose, and as this game continues, they're just going to slowly tighten it. And you got to do something here if you're Pangolier. Like, what?
Is it just the Terror Blade, though? Because you still look at the gold. Like, it's 1,000 gold. Actually, it's about 1.4k gold advantage going the way of Liquid. The experience is a little bit the way of Liquid, but it's not snowballing one way. This is definitely not game 1. This is a very different enchilada.
But your problem is that right now, your Mag and your Axe are trying to buy Blink Daggers. And when you get these items, you need to use them. And I'm just not sure how you find pickoffs, kills, and objectives when Liquid's moving so fluidly around the map. Like, look at where these waves are. Nearly everywhere is being shoved into tier 2. The only wave that's exposed is bottom because there's no tower. Shadow's just going to teleport out. And now, since Pangolier is looking to play the bottom side of the map, I wouldn't be surprised if Liquid looks to do Roche sometime soon.
They're grouping up to smoke. Then again, where is their smoke? Like, the Blink Daggers on the Magnus, everyone was behind the tier 2 tower ready to go, but the Courier's not even carrying it. It's still trying to deliver max amount of items to the top lane now.
It's just, you're in an interesting position. Ghostic pressuring bottom hard. He'll finish his Blink soon. They do have the Magnuses online. Just, I don't know how you use it. This is the downside of the dire side because Liquid is perfectly comfortable ceding control of their bottom lane and jungle because it's so far from the Roche pit. And you've got to be careful if you're the team of Pango, because at any moment, you show 3 or 4 heroes down here, immediately Liquid runs into the pit.
And because also Pango doesn't have their tier 1 tower on top or mid, then this Roshan becomes a lot more exposed. But that's why Down towards bottom. Look towards Matama. They're not moving quickly, however. Magnus is holding back. And the TP, 2 onto the Shrine, 3 onto the Shrine. They're all coming to the Magnus. He begins his skewer, but man, they do not want this fight. But then again, Pango were the ones who are setting up for it.
But you can't. The thing is, it's all about the spacing and the way Liquid play this game. Who's exposed? It's Matamba Man Timbersaw with full stacks. You can't initiate on him. You're going to lose the game. And it just, you all of a sudden gain information. You know where the initiator is. All of a sudden, Mag has revealed himself, and it's easy to just teleport in, kill him. And bear in mind, this whole time, Shadow's just farming.
Yeah. He is number 1 on the net worth. Goes up against the number 1 Terrorblade, and Terrorblade just walks away. Nothing to have in this fight. New items get to arrive. The Necrobook, level 1, completed for the Dazzle. StarLadder will have a Vlad's and a 3-man smoke from Liquid. They are invading the jungle and they're going to find the Dazzle. GH doesn't break his smoke. He walks around it because they know they need to have a jump stun, which they don't actually have out of their 3 players. They probably wanted to work with Shadow up on the top lane, and that is where the smoke gank is coming in. King R, they'll come in close. Instant RP, but the spin! Juggernaut's going to be immune, and then the Ignis. They cannot move away from it. Gozik's trying to take care of it, but with the Omni Slash, Gozik's losing life. Shadowgrave give him a little bit more life, but then here comes your Crush into the back lines. Dazzle, the Lich ulti. Liquid, actually, they can't move away from it. This is how they have their fight. They're just continuous slow. Liquid, even with the high ground, could not get down there and do the damage they wanted.
Yeah, they have no Timber Saw, and you just can't take that fight if you're Liquid successfully without the Timber. They have a shot, but there's no amp that goes off before the Omni Slash. It spreads the damage out throughout all these tanky cores of Pangolier, and there's just no way you're going to be able to find that kill. But GH, he chose to do something I have yet to see a Coddle do. No points in Blinding Light, just maxed out the Q, because this is all he's doing. Yeah, he's going to die here, but he doesn't mind. He just killed the creep wave, and there's no push now for 30 more seconds.
It's like because he's just trying to buy time for the cause of Liquid to get stronger.
Yeah, he'll actually respawn just about when the creep wave actually hits the tier 1. And you can look at Liquid, they're just saying, oh, okay, buddy, thank you. We're going to go stop this tower from dying now. And
they're actually going into, Liquid are going into Roshan. So they're going to let their tier 1 tower die up on top. Fortification will delay it. But with the Demon Edge over on the Juggernaut, maybe they feel they have enough damage, but Talman's fine with this. He's building reactive armor stacks up. And it looks like Pango is not aware. The de-warning of the Observer as well. The T1 tower has not fallen. And Pango seemed completely unaware this is happening.
Yeah, and it's disguised because Kuro showed himself, places a ward above the pit. So that'll break spokes and prevent them from being ambushed inside the pit. And shows like, hey, maybe my team is smoked behind me. You've got to get out of dodge. As you said, they're still doing Roche. The 2 keys, if you're ever looking to do Roche at this phase of the game, is doing it quickly and doing it without taking damage. When you have a Slaughter and a Timbersaw, you have both of those things because Jug just freely hits the Roche. It dies in, what, 20 seconds? And Timber's still full health. Even if you get initiated there, so what?
Man, just so smart from Team Liquid. They own the board. Kuro even denied the tier 1 tower, so with that push on the top lane, like they still got no money for it, Pango, and GH is just spamming this Illuminate.
And once again, 4 heroes of Pangolier are here, and this time, yeah, it's the Keeper instead of the Timbersaw, but it's the same concern where, once again, you're just not able to get objectives because this annoying guy is just spamming spells.
Well, you know where he is. He's in the trees. He'll clip Naive, and now the jump in. Yeah, they're coming for GH. Finally, they will shut him down with a catapult behind him. Pango will be taking this tier 2 tower on the bottom. But Matumba's cutting the creep wave in the mid, cleaning it up with fortification. The rest of Liquid will push it to the tier 2 tower on top lane. And they want their fight. They want to have an engagement.
I think, yeah, you keep going if you're Pangolier, but the problem is you're going to see Matumba Man TP in about 5 seconds, and he's going to stand at the tower if they keep trying to pressure this, and giggle at him.
Shadow's the first one at TP. Finishes up the Battle Fury. So that took 17 minutes for the Juggernaut.
Crimson and Yules finished on Matumba as well. He's going to have both those items. He'll actually transition to mid to try and prevent this tower push, but he's got to be careful. He's got no armor stacks.
But they're backing off. And in fact, it's a wraparound through the rear, catching out the Dazzle with the first stun, Mind Control with the chain stun. And boy, they just keep on going, bashing through. He'll get the Shallow Grave out, but there's no way to escape. Inside the Chakram, he'll die to Matumbaman. But it's still not that bad for Pango. They've cleaned out all the towers in the bottom lane. They've taken the tier 1 tower in mid. The tier 1 tower is lost on top, so it's a little bit more difficult for that quick jump into Roshan.
It goes back into the whole Dire versus Radiant concept, though, because, yeah, you've got both towers bottom, but they just aren't as effective as the ones that Liquid slayed because they open up the Rosh pit. Of course, they've already acquired the first Aegis, but you're going to have an engagement around the second Rosh, and Liquid is just going to be better positioned to do so. Like, it enables them to play enemy jungle high grounds and bait the Rosh into big fights. And when you have heroes like Coddle and Timber, you love fighting and forced choke points.
I'm definitely going to fight now. Shadow is so far away from the rest of Liquid. Like, I thought for a moment that if that jump did come in, Ghostic had Blink Dagger ready to go, but he actually uses Blink just to get back to the Tier 3 tower.
And remember, this Shadow was the original Juggernaut player. I know there's a lot of players right now who think they're the masters of it, but way back before even TI6, he was one of the few players that could make this work in a meta where it was really just not popular. With unconventional item builds, I remember seeing Blink Maelstroms and these weird styles, but I kind of like this casual Yasha before Battle Fury. Too many times I see Jugs rushing Battle Fury, die once, and all of a sudden it feels like they're behind for the rest of the game. I really like this style and decision, and you know, all of a sudden 6 towers dead for Liquid, and here they go marching up the high ground with maxed out healing ward, 3 points rather, and a near unkillable Matumba Man.
Yep. 19 minutes in, they feel very confident with the Eul Scepter to be defensive on the Timbersaw. It makes it even more difficult to get the lockdown on Matumba.
And it's 20 minutes, so they back off. And